Them on the go at ESPNSA.com. Go to ESPNSA.com. You will see our YouTube channel broadcast live. And when you do, on your top right-hand corner, you'll see Jason Minnick safely distanced at his home. I'm Rob Thompson sitting on top of the hill. James Pledger essentially in the studio, the glass box of fun. I don't know how to approach today, guys. I really don't. I don't know what level of anger I should bring. I don't know if we want to provide a respite. I know that there's lots of stuff on my heart. I know that there's lots of stuff that we feel we need to say. I'm just not sure how to go about it. And I think, Jason, we all are going to approach this weekend and over the last week, quite frankly, as to what's going on in our city, in our state, and in our country in different ways. But I think universally, we're appalled. We're terrified, horrified by what we saw in Minneapolis from another black man being murdered. And let's say what it was. And we're horrified and appalled by those that are tearing apart our city. We're horrified and appalled. But we are certainly San Antonians, and we love those that showed up Saturday morning as daybreak came with brooms, with hoses, with water. We love what we saw there. We're all of that. We are what we saw in Minneapolis a week ago today. We are what we saw on Sunday morning. We are all of that, and we're going to wrestle with that for the rest of our lives. I don't know what to say, and I don't know how to say it, but we're going to muddle through the next 3 hours. There are sports to talk about.
There are, and it's interesting because, you're angry, you're sad. I sat and watched in disbelief the TV coverage that I was seeing in not only San Antonio, but, Los Angeles, Miami, Washington, D.C., obviously Minneapolis. And, you sit there in disbelief going, okay, can this event, as tragic as it is, be one that actually leads to some sort of change? Because we've gone through issues like this before, and again, we're two middle-aged white guys. What's the comfort level? And I saw somebody say, it's time to be uncomfortable, and I'm fine being uncomfortable, but what are the right words to say? What are the, it's a sports talk show. Is this a day where you stick to sports? No, it really isn't. But will we weave in and out of it? And and if you've got something to say, tell us, because I think the one thing that you and I can do is listen. And I think for a lot of people, it's just an opportunity to speak their piece, to get something off their mind, to tell their stories, to help us understand, as hard as that is for two white guys who haven't been in that position. There's a fear that you and I will never understand, that our black friends certainly deal with on a regular basis, and we can talk to them about it, but that doesn't help us when it comes down to it, to a degree, to fully understand some of their fears that they live with on a daily basis.
It's tough. So we are opening the phone lines as we always do. The Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are available to you, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. This is a place to let it out. If you've been holding it back, you don't know what to say or what to think, hey, come aboard. We will figure it out. We are a bunch of like-minded types that come from different places, and let's gather together in this great tent that is sports and figure out where we're going, because you get the feeling in this day and age that we're running out of things that are cultural touchstones that we can all identify with. We've spent times locked up. We're curious about masks and the lack of masks. We don't understand what the future of our economy is, much less the future of our very health, and now we're dealing with this. And I say that in a way that this is something that should have been dealt with a long time ago, and it's been left smoldering, festering, and it just continues to upset. And we'll go through and try to put sports in its perspective as we wrestle with bringing sports back in the midst of a pandemic. And there's good news there. There's positive news there. There's a little bit of negative as well. But at the same time, we're all walking up the same hill. Some of us are just carrying a heavier burden, and we'll try to get there where we can. So if you got something to say, the Matting McMurphy Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed is always available to you, at Jason Minnick, at Rob Thompson ESPN. I am Pledger. We would love to hear from you if you've got something to say. Now, this is not to be a divisive show. We are not here to blame. We're not here to lay anger on one party or another, or one political belief or another. We know what's wrong. We've seen what's wrong. Now, the politics that go into what's wrong and how bad it is, that's something we're not going to go to, but we do need to let it out, and we're certainly here for you. We are going to get in today as the Major League Baseball Players Association has proposed a plan that offers us a lot more baseball deferred money. It's a step. It's a step in the right direction that I think we're going to continue to work toward. We know where the NBA stands, as Thursday will be a day of voting to figure out when and how they're going to come back. Major League Soccer, MLS, made some negative headlines today as they're also going through how they're going to get paid and who's going to pay them or whether that's going to happen. So we'll continue in through the sports world. But as we sit on a Monday morning, Jason, this weekend was extraordinary in that we had the glory of what we can do. We sent men into space. We sent a private company, blasted men into space. The glory of what we can do and the glory of what we've allowed to let happen over the last couple of weeks. And first of all, kudos to everybody in San Antonio that went out and marched on Saturday. Kudos. Well done. You went out, you did your job. You made your voice known. You put out there. Unity was there. We don't blame those. Those people went home. We saw a couple of arrests outside of San Antonio. One. They weren't even black. I don't know how to parse it. They looted my mall. They went into River Center Mall. The anger you feel, that's my town. This is my city. You went in there and you trashed it. The anger, the fear. I don't know where to go, Jason, and I think we're all there. There's things that you feel and things that you're angry about, and you can't let it go. You have to you have to provide an answer. Anger at this point has caused us to do this. Now it's time to do something, but I don't know what to do, and that's why the phones are open. I don't know what to do as a 55-year-old white man. Tell me what to do. Tell me what I need to do to help you, because I'm tired of watching it just like you are. I'm tired of it. Tired of it. Too many of my friends have dealt with it. Too many of my friends have. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Let us know. Jason, as we sit today, San Antonio is not a town fractured. I don't believe that at all. I don't think that we're dealing with a lot that we have, though we have dealt with it. What do we do next? 656-3776, 656-ESPN.
I think part of it is listen, and both of us, we have lots of friends that are policemen. This isn't a, no. I mean, are there some bad cops out there? Absolutely. And have we seen those guys on TV? We have. But I know, growing up as a military brat and, from, being born in Frankfurt, Germany, being my dad stationed in Stuttgart and Fort Hood, I grew up and every race was a part of my childhood with my friends. And, so I didn't experience anything that was race related until, frankly, I was an adult. And when I used to hear my black friends tell me stuff, I don't know if I could say I took it seriously, but it was hard for me to understand what they were saying until one day. And I know I've said this story before, but Big Kevin Brock, the Spurs former Spurs public address announcer, I was in his SUV in the back of it, and he got pulled over for no reason. The way the cop handled that situation was far different than anything I'd ever experienced personally when I'd been pulled over. He didn't get a ticket. Nothing happened, but just the tone, everything about it. And that's when I realized and understood a little bit more of, what he dealt with on a regular basis, and what a lot of black people have dealt with on a regular basis. I had not until I experienced that. One of my daughter's best friends growing up, Michaela, I walked into a store with her and my daughter and watched a store person follow Michaela through the store where they didn't follow me or my daughter. I can only assume because Michaela's black that she was worried about what Michaela might do. We left the store. But I'm with you. What can we do as individuals? Listen and try to understand. But there's got to be some sort of action for this to change. I mean, I do think, in the sports world, and you grew up in locker rooms, and, not to say that it isn't available and it isn't present in locker rooms, but I think for the most part, a lot of athletes and those that are in sports, because there's such a mix, I don't want to say you're immune from it, but it just doesn't seem as present. And maybe I'm just naive to that. I don't know, and I think that might be part of it. As you and I are we too naive to some of the stuff that is going on?
Naivety, I think, is a great term, because it is out there. And we have the perception as a white male that, there are flare-ups here and there. But for the most part, I felt like things were getting better, and they're not. So obviously all the assumptions that I have had are wrong. So at this point, I can only go by what my friends and what my city is doing. And obviously I haven't done enough. Obviously we haven't done enough. Obviously, the problem has continued. We need to do something next. What can your average guy do? What can I do? What can you do to fix this situation? We know the basics. So go vote. Vote for something. Vote for change. That's the first and tangible thing that you can do on a macro scope. But on a microscope, tell me what I can do to help. Is it pull over every time I see a black man pulled over by a police officer? Is it that? Is it? Do we just need more eyes on the situation?
What do you mean?
To put more light on it? Just to watch. Is that what I need to do? I'm willing to. If you're telling me that this is going on without light on it, as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, it's like dust. You're choking on it. You don't know what it is until you let the sun in and you see you're surrounded by dust. Obviously, I'm sitting in the dark. So how do I put the light on it? Tell me. Let us know, because it's time. And I think we finally reached a time in our society where it's got to be fixed. Will it be easy? Will it be short? No. But I think we've reached a boiling point, because there's nothing left to do. There's nothing left to put on the back burner. We've done it all. You can't kneel. You can kneel. You shouldn't stand. You should march. You shouldn't march. Tell us what we need to do. Those that are being oppressed, let me know. We're here to help, but we have to be told, because, so many of us live in this buffered, kind of protected bubble. We don't know. We don't know. We hate it that it's happening. We're upset and terrified that it's happening. But as long as it stays in the dark, tell me how to light it up. Tell me how to. I will. I think so many of us will. We saw the marchers in San Antonio. This is San Antonio, for heaven's sakes, the home of the oldest Juneteenth march in the country. We have been part and parcel of this. We gather together in mass regularly in this city. Never an issue that we know of. And there's the problem. We didn't know. I didn't know. Fix it. Let me know. Let's look at the sports. If you got something to say, please come on and talk to us, because I think more than ever, we need desperate voices and desperate groups that are telling us, well, this is happening while you don't know. Well, tell us about it. We do know that the NBA has been forward thinking with this, and our head basketball coach here in San Antonio, Greg Popovich, has been on the forefront of this for years. For years, we've been hearing our coach talk about the racist society. And as this has blown up, of course, Greg Popovich is in the middle. He has joined a committee of NBA coaches to ponder ways for the NBA and their staff to come forward and help craft a forcibly worded denouncement of the George Floyd killing. Is just the beginning. Coaches gathering together, and that's the ones you'd expect. Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, the ones that have come through the part of the tree, the group that's coming together. And I think now, as we can't trust our politicians, we can't trust what's above us, we can trust our sports heroes to at least make something said, get something out there. And we've known Greg Popovich has always been on the forefront. We saw NBA players travel down to either Atlanta or ahead to a variety of places. We've got NFL players speaking out. You've got LeBron, if you ain't with us, you're against us, basically is his tweet. I'm with you, but tell us how to be with you. Tell me how to be with you, because obviously I thought wrong. What I've been doing hadn't been enough. It hasn't. And I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed that there are people, my brothers, out there suffering the way that it is, and it's not going away. What are we going to do? 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Coming back, let's look around the sports world to see the reaction to what's been going on. Pop speaks. Lonnie Walker out there cleaning. NBA players all around. Those leaders in the sporting world have stepped forward. As we've got in our rundown, the 2020 continues. We're going to continue as well talking about the rest of the sports world reaction to the terrible time our country is going through right now. Hang around. We got a lot to talk about. An important day here on the Blitz. Stay here. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you're having issues with your plumbing, your heating, your AC, there is one company to call, and that is Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC at 210-651-5899. At Quartermoon, they are experts at worst-case scenarios, and if you're calling the plumber, at least in your world, it could be worst-case scenario. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. At Quartermoon, they will provide estimates and second opinions. They do not have commissioned sales reps, but they do have a great experienced staff that has earned an A+ ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And at Quartermoon, they are green certified. 210-651-5899 is the number. 651-5899 or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
There's only one way to do Saturdays, with the Saturday Morning Hangover with RJ Ochoa and James Fletcher. Getting you ready for all the weekend's games and then some. Saturday mornings 9 to 11, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners, a great locally owned family-run business. Since day one, founder Alan Townsend's goal was to set the standard in the water softener industry. They're a great local company. They support other small local businesses. And at Alamo Water Softeners, their goal is to educate and guide their customers joyfully with a servant's heart while offering affordable water softeners. Learn more online at alamowatersofteners.com. Check out their Facebook page or call Alamo Water Softeners at 210-274-6122.
With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, we do too. So as America starts opening back up for business, and as more of us start getting back out there again, we'll be in big cities, small towns, and everywhere in between, doing what we've always done to help keep our local communities moving forward. So whether you stop by a Napa Auto Parts store, Auto Care Center, or visit us at Napa online, you can count on Napa know-how.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity Band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
At the shops at La Cantera.
We're here to tell you about Boost Mobile's new upgraded network.
That's right. Stronger signal, faster speeds, and more coverage.
So now you can get everything you want faster, like Pitbull's music.
No, the new upgraded network means you can download music faster than ever before. It doesn't mean that it will make Pitbull songs faster.
Oh, so this isn't the song.
No, this is the song.
Well, this is embarrassing.
Step up with Boost Mobile's new upgraded network. Stronger signal, faster speeds, more coverage than before. Switch and get 4 unlimited lines for $25 per line per month and 4 free LG K51 phones. Access to upgraded network requires compatible device. New customers only. 4-line offer requires at least 1 port and activation from eligible carrier. Free phone limited to 1 per line while supplies last. Customers using more than 35 gigabytes of data during billing cycle may be deprioritized during times of congestion. Offers and coverage not available everywhere. Additional terms and restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com or retailer for full details.
It is the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM as we sit on June 1st of 2020. The summer in front of us, it's going to be a long, hot summer. It's been a crazy, weird year so far, and over the last week, it has gotten down into the depths of one of those things that is going to be talked about in history books. As we sit today, after a weekend of mayhem across our country, juxtaposed against the weekend of greatness, the marchers from across our country gathering together, finding a way, looking for a way to fix this. We deal with the outcome, the riots, the looting, and all that went along with those that were seeking peaceful means to end a violent past. What do we do? Let us know. The Kielbasa Bacon phone lines, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. This is a welcoming area, but let's keep it on the level here. If you start acting up, you're going to be thrown off this air. I'll tell you right now. Let's go to the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. Tony, welcome aboard, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? First and foremost, man, thank you for even opening up the discussion on your show with a serious matter that goes on. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys. I'm African-American male and was born in Mississippi, father in the military. That's what brought us here from Nuremberg, Germany. So I love San Antonio. But here's the thing. If there's two things I would say to anyone, but particularly as you guys have asked the question, if you're not black, what can you do? The first thing is the acknowledgement, and this is going to seem simple, but it really isn't. The acknowledgement that there is a problem. There has to be that conversation starting point. I can't tell you enough. Say enough how many times I've brought up something I've experienced, not legally, just an encounter with police officers, whether it's leaving Pat O'Brien's downtown or what happened to me with a routine, like I was a speeding ticket, and just the experience of having to get outside the car, having the other officer go around the other side, go inside the car, look in the car while they're running my information, things like that go on that other people haven't experienced. When I tell people things that I've experienced, their response is, "Oh, that's not happening everywhere. Oh, that's a one-off." They think it's a one-off, but they don't realize when I'm talking amongst black people, almost 9 out of 10 black people, when you tell them about your story, they can trump you with their own story.
Right.
Something that they've experienced. Yet when you tell it to people who haven't seen it, lived it, experienced it, it's hard for them to fathom that's really, to quantify that it's actually happening in every city, everywhere. And it's not all the time. I will never say all law enforcement are bad, because most of the law enforcement I've encountered, it's cordial, and they're not worried about me because I'm not doing anything. But there is instances enough that happen. So there has to be the acknowledgement that it happens. The other piece to it is intolerance is not in silence. And that goes from everything from having a crazy relative that spouts off racist things to telling racist jokes that are just kind of one-sided to one particular race, and everybody kind of ha-has it. Nobody would laugh about child pornography or trafficking. That wouldn't be a funny topic to joke about. Racism shouldn't be either. If you truly know the history of racism and the pain and the suffering and the loss of life that come behind it. So intolerance means going to the people in your own circle and saying, "Hey, that's not right. That we shouldn't talk like that. You shouldn't treat them like that. You shouldn't group them all in one bucket like that," and help to change the mindset to know that that's not okay to be in that mindset.
Tony, truth. I think that's the first step. There's a great politician, Tip O'Neill, that said all politics are local. No matter what you're talking about, it boils down to your neighborhood. And after that, then it expands. If you're not taking care of your own home, if you're not dealing with it with your family, then you're part of the problem. If you don't let your family know that I'm standing up for this and you're not allowed to say that around me, or we're going to agree to disagree and you can go your own way because I'm going this direction, that's the beginning. It's difficult. I'll tell you, this is an honest statement. I got to do it with my parents last night. I had to leave their house. I was asked to leave because I refused to sit by and hear exactly what you said. Now, keeping in mind, I'm talking about 80-year-old parents and all the dogmas that go along with being an 80-year-old American. But I was asked to leave because I heard that same statement. It's not happening here. And by what I saw in my city, it is. I'd like to think it wasn't. And I think so many white men sit back and go, "It ain't me. It ain't anybody I know, so I'm not going to worry about it anymore." Well, that's how I've been. It ain't me. It ain't anybody I know, because I'm not going to be seen or be heard from racists. I'm not going to deal with bigotry. My life is too short to deal with that kind of animalistic bigotry that just takes away from everything. But because I've done this, it has allowed this to prolong. So the first step, I thank you, Tony, for letting me know. I will take care of it. I make a promise to you that I will make sure that everybody I'm around, if it's brought up, it won't go unnoticed. I will assure you that I will make sure that people know what I believe, how I believe, and I'm willing to stand up for it. Tony, thank you so much for the call. This is a tough day. There's shame for a lot of people. There's anger for a lot of people. What do you think? 656-3776, 656 ESPN. Jason, you know that's just so hard to fathom, hard to take.
And I think what Tony is saying is so true in the sense, and I appreciate his story, because there are a lot of good cops out there, but this is happening so much. And it's one thing when you hear a story and you think it's a one-off. Maybe the cop was having a bad day. Maybe, there's always seems to be, a reason. But for him to say, when he's 9 out of 10 have a story like that, there is a problem. And I don't know if it goes back to police training. And again, you and I were both in the military. We know, you can have training, but also when you're in the military, there is the accountability of everything that you do. I don't know what the right answer is, but I think we're starting the dialogue. And if we hear, Tony talk about his experience getting pulled over, and if we get 10 more calls, I mean, we know there's a problem there. What we as white men have to understand is more acknowledgement that this is more of the norm and not an outlier. This isn't a one-off thing that happened to that guy that was unfortunate. This is happening a lot more than I thought, than you thought. But our black brothers, it's happening to them a lot more, and we just have never even opened our eyes to it is a regular daily thing.
I find it very interesting that it's so difficult to speak out against negative cops, to even admit that there are bad cops out there, because in every other walk of life, there are bad guys doing bad things in their line of work. How many physicians have been sued for malpractice? But if I bring up a doctor that's been sued for malpractice for just outright doing a terrible job, we don't look at the rest of the doctors out there and say, well, they're all bad. Why? No. Why is it if we talk about police that there is this, you can't talk poorly about police when I can talk poorly about talk radio hosts and newscasters and every line of work has people that are bad, that do things poorly, that do things out of anger and everything else that makes us suffer. We can talk about them. It doesn't defame the entirety of that line of work. It just defames that one. And when we talk negatively about cops, yes, the vast majority of cops are they're there for us. They're protecting and serving. They are exactly what we want them to be, and they're everything they should be. It's such a small minority that if we call them out, I'm not calling out every cop. I'm not calling out 99% of the cops, but there's 1% of you out there. There's 1% that are awful. As we have this discussion, this is not negatively about every cop. It's only about a very few. And please keep that in mind. I am a dyed-in-the-wool police supporter. Hey, man, protecting and serving, I don't know what we'd do without you, but there's some bad ones amongst you. You know it, we know it. Now it's time to get it taken care of.
And that's what makes this maybe even more difficult, because, right now it seems like, an entire group is getting singled out and looked at in a negative way, and it shouldn't be that way. But then again, it kind of feels like that's what's kind of caused this, is how one single group gets profiled, and you're seeing in that light, and you just look at it. It seems so difficult to weed out the bad cops as well. And that's something that does need to change, right away, whether it's with the police unions or, however it works. I saw something about, you can get fired from one force and then 2 towns away get another job because they don't check or whatever. Or, this dude in Minnesota who'd been in trouble, 18 complaints against him. And there seems to be there's got to be a way to get rid of bad cops on a permanent basis. You think about military and anybody that's been in war, you think about the accountability that you're in a gun battle, you fire off your weapon, the accountability that you have to show. And we've all seen military careers end if somebody, quickly. Why isn't that same accountability applied to our law enforcement? Like you said, there's a lot of great ones, but the few bad ones, why is it so difficult seemingly to weed them out?
And, I'll be honest, just as I can't put myself in the position or the mindset of a black man in the United States today, neither can I put myself in the position of a cop. I'm neither, and never have, and I can't. I won't. So as I try to find a way to say, how do I help? Cops, it's the same way. How do we help you? How do we make sure that you as the good cop are known as a good cop? How do we make sure that we can separate the chaff from the wheat, from the good from the bad? We need your help too. How can we help you? Because 90% of the cops out there, more higher than that, are heartbroken as well. This is part of their life. And they've got a guy that is ruining their life because of what he did someplace 500 miles from here. We want to help. Most of us are desperate to get something out there and get something done. Tell us, because silence has prolonged and it's kept us where we are today. You just keep going back and back. Let's take one more call before we go to break, but it is certainly a worthy conversation. 656-3776, 656-ESPN. Alfredo, welcome aboard, man. Thanks for calling.
Yes, how are you guys? No, I just wanted to say, you had me in your show before my and then she was telling me if we would have a kid, no matter what, if he's biracial, he's always going to be a black man, no matter what. If he's a black Mexican, he's always going to be black, no matter what. I experienced racism too when I was in 2005. I never saw it in hand. I had two best friends that were in the football team. We got pulled over back in Chicago. So we can go to this neighborhood, and they told me not to go because we're going to get a profile. Luckily, just because my name isn't so super Hispanic, and they pulled us over and they got mad at me, but I didn't understand the gravity. It's like, I'm always going to be a black man. We lost a football game. We lost 49-3. Can I say ass? We got our butt kicked. We didn't get it.
You can say ass. If you lost 49-3, you got your ass kicked.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was a sorry. We were okay. Well, let's celebrate. But then it went south. They kind of they pulled us over. They didn't experience that racism. And my friend, I told you. And we were only 16 years old. And I was driving my Hyundai Elantra. See, people don't understand. It's out there. Now it's getting worse. See, the only thing we're supposed to do is enjoy our games. See, this is a camaraderie with our friends. See, for example,
Alfred, how long ago was this? What year was this?
It was in 2004.
2004. 16 years ago. Has anything happened to you since? Because this seems very real to you right now. This is something that has stuck with you to this day. Did it change your perception of police after that?
It didn't change because some of my relatives are police officers, but it was a place where you're not supposed to go because it was mostly a white neighborhood, upscale neighborhood. We weren't supposed to be going there, but we got invited by some girls that come here. I mean, you guys lost, but come invite us, Okay, what are you supposed to do as a teenager? Go to the party no matter what, because, okay, you want to hang out with some girls, that's the whole point. But it went south. It really hurts me that, a lot of people are being persecuted, especially a black man. It's not fair. See, we're supposed to enjoy sports. We're supposed to talk about the Eagles. There's a hatred team. As a Cowboys fan also, you got to say, I hate the Eagles, but don't hate the person. That's the whole point. Your black man, your brother, it doesn't matter. Your love is supposed to be towards your brother. That's the whole thing. That's what I was trying to express it. And not all cops are bad, because my brother-in-law, he's a police officer, and he's dealing with this stuff right now. And please pray for him. Please pray for him. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Alfred, great call. Just the pain. This was 16 years ago, and it's still, you could hear it in his voice. 16 years ago, he's a kid and marked. And this is a man with police in his family and still looks at it like, the fact that he said, this is a place we weren't supposed to go. What do you mean? You're an American citizen. What do you mean you can't go there because white folks live there? That alone tells me, again, here we are.
And you think about it, the idea of that, and as a white guy, we've all experienced, when you're with your friends and, hey, you're going over here and, you're going to be the only white guy in that neighborhood, but we got you. You know what I mean? There is that. And you look at it and you think about what he just said, places you can't go. And I go back to something that my friend Kevin Brock told me when we were talking on the phone earlier. He said, two ways that you might be able to fix this. One, they need more black police officers. And then you talk about places you can't go. He said, have officers patrolling neighborhoods that they're comfortable patrolling. Because if you get an officer who's uncomfortable, a white cop uncomfortable in a predominantly black neighborhood, you're going to have issues. Don't put that cop in that situation. That helps a lot of people. And I wonder how many police forces have any kind of setup like that where you could say, I don't know if I can go over there. It sounds strange, and I think he's right. I don't know how police officers or police forces can recruit to get more black officers, but certainly I think that would help.
We want to hear from you, your thoughts. If you want to rant a little bit, we welcome you. Let us know, what can we do to fix this? We'll continue. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
While we're all home now watching more TV and movies, and hopefully we'll have games in about a month, you want to step up your snack game, and you can do that with the bold flavors of Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. They are available at H-E-B. Low-carb, high-protein, bold flavors, the perfect snack. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds come in great handcrafted flavors like pineapple ancho chili, spicy dill, Korean kimchi barbecue, and many others. If you're on the keto diet, these pork rinds are perfect for you, and they're not just for snacking. Use them to cook. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and has teamed up with award-winning chef Tim Byers, and they've created these incredible cooking videos. You can go to porkrindrecipes.com, see these videos, and every time you do, you can watch a video or share them. They're going to donate $5 to Blessings in a Backpack. It's fantastic. You'll get some great ideas. Again, those cooking recipes are at porkrindrecipes.com, and the website where you can get a coupon to save some money on those pork rinds, southernrecipesmallbatch.com. Go there, get your coupon, print it out, and go get your favorite flavor at H-E-B, or you can buy them online. Southern Recipe Small Batch. It's a different kind of rind.
Nails on a Chalkboard has more listeners. Dan Levitine, weekdays 9 till noon, only on San Antonio Sports Leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
This ESPN San Antonio Sports Center update is brought to you by Alamo Water Softeners, 274-6122. I'm James Pledger, and in the NBA, the league is expected to ratify a restart plan to the season on Thursday in a vote by the Board of Governors. This according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, Ramona Shelburne, and Zach Lowe. Word is they'll approve Adam Silver's recommendation, which includes invitations for 20 to 22 teams in Orlando at Walt Disney World at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex. The NBA season went on hiatus March 12th due to the coronavirus pandemic. In other NBA news, Detroit Pistons assistant general manager and former San Antonio Spur Malik Rose is leaving the Pistons to take a position in operations with the NBA league office. In Major League Baseball news, the Major League Baseball Players Association has countered the league's 82-game proposal with 114 games, the regular season ending at the end of October, and 2 years of expanded playoffs with the ability for any player to opt out of the 2020 season if they wish. In college football news, the Big 12 announced staggered returns for voluntary on-campus activities starting June 15th. Other voluntary on-campus fall sports activities can commence on July 1st, with basketball permissible as of July 6th. Finally, in the NFL, the Houston Texans have hired Kevin Clark as a football data and applications engineer and Curtis Goodwin as a performance data scientist. I'm James Pledger for ESPN San Antonio.
Ready to start your new career? Thomas J. Henry is one of the largest legal employers in Texas, and Glassdoor named us one of the best places to work in the nation for 2020. Apply today at tjhlaw.com. That's tjhlaw.com. San Antonio, Texas.
Nobody beats the low prices at Mother's Window Tint, your car, stereo, and auto security headquarters. Nobody beats our prices on high-quality performance window tint and expert installation. It's essential to protect yourself and your family from the sun's hot rays and car thieves. Save $100 off regular winter prices when you purchase the Mother's Window Tint and Alarm package. This is a deal. Save $100 off our regular winter prices now at the start of summer. Limited to stock on hand. For 36 years, Mother's Window Tint, home of the tint and alarm special. Want to make make your car go thump, 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 mother thump. Premium car stereos on sale. Sony, Kicker, JVC, JBL, Diamond, Kenwood, Memphis Audio, all on sale. GPS, remote start systems, all on sale. Save $100 on the Mother's Window Tint and Alarm Special. Nobody beats the low prices at Mother's Window Tint, your car, stereo, and auto security headquarters. Mother's Window Tint, home of the Tint and Alarm Special. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
Okay, you know how it feels when you've saved enough for that long-awaited home edition? Now imagine an addition on that addition. Whoa. That's the feeling with Capital One, where a new savings account earns an interest rate 5 times the national average. That's right, 5 times, as represented by 5 times more singers. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Rate comparison based on FDIC national rate. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Every home has things it needs, things that need to be maintained, fixed, or replaced. The Home Depot is here to help you get it done. You can easily find what you need on our app, order it online with the push of a button, and have it brought to your door with free delivery on over 1 million items. We have the essentials you need, the online know-how you may need to do it yourself, and low prices that make it all possible. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Picket lines and picket signs.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPN SA Day. It is an interesting day here in San Antonio and around our country, as it seems like we're fraying at the edges. We're not. We're falling apart. No, we're not falling apart. This is a country that's been through a lot. We fixed a lot. It's time to fix something else. Let's put on our work clothes and go to work. If you have something to say, get it off your chest as you join in Jason Minix and Rob Thompson here on the Blitz. Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are 656-3776, 656-ESPN. This is a venue for you to let it go. You can jump on the Matty McMurphy Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed. You can reach us at Rob Thompson ESPN, at Jason Minix, at I Am Pledger. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you're feeling, and we're also desperate for answers. Tell us what we can do to help. But as we go through the show, there are things that affect us in a sporting manner, I guess. And let's talk baseball real quick, Jason. When last we were together, the Major League Baseball Players Association had offered a 114-game schedule starting in June 30th. That has been rapidly fired off and declined by the owners. They have a different idea of what they want to do. Far fewer games, deferred money. If you were just landing on the planet today, Jason, I think you'd look at this and go, baseball ain't going to play. But I think this is a pretty huge step forward. They're still negotiating. While they're yelling at each other and making each other angry, at least they're still negotiating. I think we're still headed in the right path. And a little bit of rancor certainly isn't pretty, but at least, again, they're still making offers to each other. So I think they'd all desperately want to play, but for a few owners. But still ain't there yet.
I think it's baseball negotiations 101. I mean, right now you got your middle reliever in who's coming in just to get a lefty out. That's what this feels like. You know, the owners suggested 82 games and whopping off a whole lot of money, and you knew the players were going to say F that. And they fire back a 114-game season, and that way they can get a little bit more of their money. And the owners are going to reject that because, I mean, there's a big gap between 82 and 114 games. Now, a couple of things that I do like, though, about the players' proposal is they start June 30th. Now, we're at June 1 right now. We've all heard they want at least 3 weeks of a training camp. So, get your stuff together, pack your bags, head to where you're going, because we're going to have training camp start in a week, because they are going to figure something out. There will be the medium ground. And hearing stuff that, some small market teams say, you know what, it's cheaper for us not to play. So we'll pay your contract money, but if we're not going to make enough money, I mean, we just won't play. And again, if you're trying to figure out how does that work, the way Major League Baseball is looking at this is like everybody playing in their regular stadium. They're not talking bubble city like the NBA or the NHL. So you've got all the travel costs. You have, from your private planes to the meals to the hotels to the staff that goes with it, that you could still pay all these guys their contract and not have all the other expenses and save money, because you are losing all your ticket revenue. In Texas, where 25% of fans are going to be allowed, according to Governor Abbott, you wonder if the Major League Baseball commissioner will say, okay, well, if your governor says you can do that, you can have it. And if your governor says you can't, you're screwed. I wonder how the commissioners now are going to handle things because, governor can say one thing, but what is the commissioner going to say? And that could be something very different. But it's all a part of the playbook. If you turn to page 17, this is where we are.
It's funny that, all the owners say, here's what we'll do. And then the players fire back with a lot more games and a little bit more pay and some deferred money. And then the owners come back and say, well, some of us, the small market teams, we might not even want to play. If you look at it for what's happening instead of not looking at the words, it is negotiation through the press. That's all it is. The very idea that some of the owners decide, well, we're not going to play at all. Baloney. That's a bunch of baloney. You think there's an owner out there that's going to pass up an opportunity to make a little bit of money versus make none at all? Oh, come on now. I understand the economics for these small market owners, but you're not going to tell me you're going to be better off not playing than if you had played. No one believes that. So you can tell us that, but we know that is a tennis lob back to the other side. Okay, you went to 114. We're going to go back down to 0. Maybe we'll come back and meet about 50 where we were before or somewhere in that range. It sounds rough. It sounds like bad news, but I'm not looking at bad news yet. I think that we're actually closer today than we were even a couple of weeks ago with baseball getting started because at least, again, they're still talking. Now, on the other side of the fence, Major League Soccer might be falling apart.
Before we get into Major League Soccer, the one thing that I do like, though, is they're still talking. And if there's going to be a realistic baseball season, we are coming up on an artificial deadline. But at some point, there's going to be a hard deadline. And when you look at June 30th, 3 weeks of a training camp, of a spring training, sitting here on June 1st, there seems to be a pretty hard, although not real, deadline probably at the end of this week for them to make an agreement. And I look at the National Hockey League. While they've agreed, the players there have agreed to a formula to return. They haven't actually agreed to return yet because they still got to get the pay side done. But we will have sports. And I think everybody understands they're just trying to get to where they are going to get as much as they possibly can. And I don't blame them for that. But I do like the idea that we are getting close to a deadline to make it worth everybody's while.
Speaking of deadlines, Thursday, the NBA owners will vote on a plan. The expectation is the plan that they reach will not be a negotiation. That will be the plan, because I think the NBA has been very proactive in talking to the players behind the scenes before anything is even mentioned. Before we're even going to make an offer, let's see where everybody stands so we don't do something outlandish. Thursday, they vote. I think we'll have an idea of what it'll be, and it'll stay what it'll be after Thursday with some few minor tweaks. You would assume the players still have a few things to add in there, but you just get the feeling that of all the different professional leagues, NBA players and NBA management seem to be as close on the same page as any other group. NFL, a very close second behind that, I think.
Well, there's a trust that Adam Silver has with the NBA owners and the NBA players that you don't have right now in Major League Baseball. And quite frankly, I don't know if it's ever been there. It's always been a fight for the baseball players in the association and the front office. So, Adam Silver has that trust. And, by all accounts, while, you look at that survey that they put out last week of the GMs, it's all over the board on what everybody wants. And it's all self-serving on how they answered those survey questions. But the consensus was whatever Adam Silver puts out is going to be approved because there's a trust that he is going to put the best plan that benefits everybody.
Every league is going through this, whether the ball is small and round, big and round, or oblong. They're going through it. And Major League Soccer, we thought that there was relative peace, that the owners and the players were in good standing. Well, it turns out the owners are not happy with the Major League Soccer Players Association's idea about what the season should look like. Is a lockout imminent for MLS? We'll look at it coming up next here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for Pax Financial Group. At Pax Financial, they know you want to be financially prepared. And in order to do that, you need trusted guidance. It could be time to have Pax Financial Group do a checkup on your portfolio. Is it concentrated in the international markets, especially China? Call Pax Financial Group, 210-881-5700. If you were recently laid off, before you withdraw from your IRA, double check with Pax Financial Group. They will guide your long-term decisions. If you're thinking about taking Social Security, if you're uncertain, could be time to have Pax double check all your numbers. At Pax Financial Group, they believe everybody deserves to be hopeful about their future. They understand what it's like to want to protect your hard-earned money, which is why they have been entrusted by thousands of families for over a decade to provide financial guidance. Connect with Pax Financial Group, 210-881-5700, 881-5700, or go to their website, paxfinancialgroup.com, paxfinancialgroup.com. Investment advisory services offered by Pax Financial Group, LLC.
No Justin Bieber bump music here. Stop it! Knock it off! San Antonio sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. Whether it's you, a family member, a friend of yours, you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast. The best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You can even start the bonding process there online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail. A lot of reasons for that. And you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. Of course, they are discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. They have offices up in Dallas, down in Corpus, the Valley, everywhere in between. License number 149. AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, 225-2121, or online at mybestbailbonds.com.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
At the shops at La Cantera.
Geico knows there are many reasons why you ride. From the camaraderie of the other bikers, a band of brothers, always there for you, rain or shine, to the amazing savings you get with Geico on your motorcycle insurance and accessories coverage all year round. But for Bucky Hornhill, it was one reason in particular.
It was my helmet hair. I was born with helmet hair. I've tried to cut it a bunch of times, even buzzing it, but it immediately just goes back to helmet hair.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
It is the Blitz. Here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. The Blitz is always brought to you by the Thompson Law Firm. An experienced personal injury attorney is a phone call away. In these crazy times, if you're dealing with an insurance company, if you have been wronged, and you don't have the right attorney by your side, you're going to be on the short end of the stick. Here's the number you need, 210-900-0400. Or go check out his website, alawyer4us.com, Jason Thompson. Well, Major League Soccer and its Players Association have been going through what every other league has been going through. Offers to play and ways they're going to pay and all the things that go into starting up a truncated season in a weird time. And I think a lot of people expected MLS was going to come back relatively on a smoother road than the other leagues. That felt a little bit like the NHL. They had a plan. Everybody agreed to the plan. Let's get to work. Well, that's not the case. Major League Soccer's owners offered their plan. The players, retorted with another. And the owners are saying today, our offer is our offer. This is no negotiation. You have to vote on yes by noon tomorrow or there will be a lockout. That's the first step toward a deadline, Jason. As you were talking about deadlines making deals, the owners threw down a deadline. You got till noon tomorrow. You buy it?
No. Or maybe. You know what I mean? I mean, at this point, players are the commodity, right? I mean, there can't be a league without players. But the players do have to understand that the owners are in incredibly bad positions that they didn't plan on. And there's personal wealth and then there's business money and all these, every business is suffering some right now. I don't know what the happy medium is, but wasn't MLS, and I don't follow soccer enough, but wasn't MLS coming into a negotiation to begin with?
They'd already concluded it, Jason. They'd already come to an agreement. Just nobody had signed it. They had already back earlier last year into this year. They had come to an agreement, but no one had signed the deal.
And again, and now with the COVID stuff, everything is now out of whack. And so, I think from the players, there's fear that this isn't going to be our long-term deal, right? This is just a short-term deal. Yeah. I hope MLS figures it out. But if they're the first to go by the wayside, very few of us will lose sleep.
You wonder, Jason, in the macro term, in the broadest possible sense, what do you think not the virus, that's why we're here, but what do you think about the unrest and all the issues that we've gone through since George Floyd's murder and the riots and all that and the protests, peaceful and not? How do you think that's affecting the leagues? Do you think it's spurring them, hey, we got to go play? Obviously, our country is fraying. We have to get out there to offer a diversion for all the negative stuff that's going on out there? Or do you think it's inflamed it a little bit more, where everybody's feeling a little put upon and everybody feels like there's this and there's that and I'm mad at this and I'm mad at that? Do you think the leagues feel that way, or the way that we got to fix this by playing?
Maybe a little bit of both, honestly, because I don't want to speculate one way or the other because that wouldn't be fair. I think from a player standpoint, you want to go play and you want to get paid. And, when and there should be, whether you've got, the situation that we're all in right now, from Minnesota or because of COVID, I think most athletes understand sports helps brings everything back together. The coaches coalition that the NBA put together, seeing tweets and statements put out by head football coaches from Nick Saban to Jake Spavital, who's going to be on with us tomorrow on the Blitz from Texas State, from Tom Izzo to Coach Cal. I think sports will go a long way in helping bring us together, because you're talking about, in a lot of cases, white coaches, wealthy white coaches that are working with, let's go to the college level. You're recruiting. You're going to a living room. You're telling a mom and a dad, I'm going to take care of your kid. I'm going to help turn your son into a man. Those coaches have a lot of influence in a lot of different ways. They've got to use it for good. So I think in a lot of ways, to get to that point, you've got to get back to playing so that becomes more than just a tweet. And what's the difference between this tweet and that tweet, and how this was said versus that was said, and the very PR crafting of all these messages that we're seeing?
I was just curious, Jason, as the NBA Board of Governors will meet on Thursday, they will vote on the plan to get things started, when they're going to play, how they're going to play, all of those go along. I wondered if this, the unrest over the last week has turned up the flame a little bit and put more light on the idea of playing, or maybe taken away from the very idea of playing because it ain't that important. I don't think that's the case. We'll find out on Thursday. Hey, we've got a lot to get into, but first, when we come back, this is an opportunity for us to all kind of gather together at the bar that is sports and talk a little bit about our lives and bring what you got. How do you feel over the last week and after what you saw in San Antonio and in Houston and in Dallas and Minneapolis and Los Angeles and the cities go on that are all touched by this, both in terrible ways? Let's talk about Floyd and the murder that was and how it's affecting us when we get back. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
What could the Spurs season look like when the NBA returns?
They were going to start earlier. You'd almost have to find a region of the country where you could just quarantine all these players and teams, and they would just play in a couple of gyms and keep themselves separate from everybody else as they were getting things going. As this appears to be kind of a rolling outbreaks across the country, there still might be parts of our country where teams are located that they might not be able to even get to a local arena to play. So maybe you find a place where everybody can kind of hang out by themselves and we get a tournament like Big Brother. They all live in the same house.
The Blitz, weekdays 4 to 7.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents, which means you're going to start telling your kids to clean up before the cleaning lady comes. Doesn't make sense, but you're the parent and they're the kids. You're going to start telling them that now too. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance. And there's your opening to remind them who pays the bills around here. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
CVS Pharmacy delivers. And right now, to meet the needs of the current health situation, we're offering 1 to 2 day delivery for free. Get prescriptions and other everyday essentials like vitamins, allergy relief, snacks, and more from your local CVS. We understand your concern, and this is just one of the ways we can help you to be prepared and stay well. Visit CVS.com or call your local CVS pharmacy to get started. Restrictions apply. Offer valid on orders with a prescription.
O'Reilly! Could your car use a spring cleaning? Now's the time to stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for great deals on everything you need to keep your car looking new. Like Mother's California Gold Wash and Wax, just $4.99 for a 64-ounce bottle. That's a $6 savings. Or online at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Time for an oil change. Don't sweat it. We'll help you find the products you need for the job. Regular oil changes keep your engine running smoother, and doing it yourself will save you time and money. We have all the products you're looking for, from oil to oil filters. And next time, you can get what you need even faster. Just order online at AutoZone.com with our free same-day store pickup. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
From faulty breakers to broken windows to leaky pipes, roofs, and water heaters, homes and businesses around the country can't work until the pros do. That's why Lowe's created credit programs that work for pros. With everyday 5% savings on eligible purchases, plus through October 31st, 60 days promotional financing on your Lowe's business account or extended terms on eligible account receivables. Learn more in-store or online at lowesforpros.com. Putting money back in your pocket. Just one more reason Lowe's is the new home for pros. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only.
Stephen A. Smith on San Antonio Sports Leader.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minutes. Rob Thompson. The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. Go to our website and you'll see us broadcasting live. Our YouTube channel's there, Facebook Live as well. It's our attempt to reach out to you in every way possible. Thanks for sitting in with us. You'll check us out live. You'll see Jason Minnick sitting comfortably in his kitchen, me as well. James Pledger is the essential one of the crew. I don't know where we start on a Monday after the weekend that we've had. It was one of those, typical weekends where the extraordinary and the awful all kind of blended into one kind of messy event. man, it was great to see us actually launch a rocket, a privately held company launching a rocket into space. It was successful by every measure. You saw the lay of the land. You didn't get to see the actual liftoff, but you got to go down there back on last week to see all the prep. You watched it, right?
I watched it on television. On Wednesday, we did fly down to Florida to try to watch it live, and obviously it got scrubbed, and it went off on Saturday. And watching it Saturday, it is just spectacular to see a launch on television. I've never seen one in person. I want to. It's still on the bucket list, although now I can't say I have been to a scrub launch, which, is kind of like going to the Super Bowl and your team loses, I mean, that same disappointing feeling, but watching it and seeing that thing go, and everything that goes with it. And then watching on news, later that night, all the fires, all the looting, the disbelief as you're watching this going, how can this all happen on one day in 2020? And, and then you're trying to, comprehend, what do the fires and the looting have anything to do with trying to right a problem that is clear that we still have in this country, and probably much deeper than most of us middle-aged white dudes realize that it's still that deep of a problem.
And it so obviously is. And as a San Antonian watching on television and on Twitter, watching people bust the doors at River Center Mall and run amok, somebody throwing something through a window at a Whataburger, you're treading on some thin ice right there. You start trampling on Whataburgers as far as Texans go. But it was awful. I never thought I would see it in my city. I just never thought I would. And because I saw it, I feel like I'm to blame, that I have not done enough. And I think a lot of us sitting at home, sitting at work, sitting in their car going, I didn't know it was this bad. I didn't know. I knew that it was happening on a regular basis, but, it kind of goes away. And I know that I wouldn't foster it. I know none of my friends or anyone that I would be even personally around would foster hatred like that. But it's still there. And you wake up on a Monday going, what do we do next? And the first thing we can do is talk about it. Get it out there. What do you believe? And what do you think needs to happen? Because we're looking for answers. And the answers can come from a lot of places like you. The Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are open. 656-3776, 656-ESPN, the Maddie McMurphy Hour Sports Bar Twitter feed, at Jason Minix, at Rob Thompson, at I Am Pledger. Let us know. Reach out. This is our city. We love it too much to let this thing continue to fester. Let's get it fixed, and a conversation is the best way to do it. And we'll circle it around with the very idea that sports play a role in this, because they do. They do, because when you're suffering an utter lack of leadership, and I think most will tell you that, whether you're whatever side of the fence you're on, you feel like there's a lack of leadership. You can find somebody out there that's not doing their job. Well, let's let the guys that we do look to start to take over, and that would be our athletes, because it seems they have taken a front and center point on this, Jason, as we saw Lonnie Walker out there first thing Saturday morning, offering water, getting to work. And it's not about blaming someone. It's about trying to fix the problem. And that's, I think, where we need to start.
And when you see what in San Antonio, Lonnie Walker getting out there Sunday morning bright and early and handing out the water and going around and actually cleaning, getting the brush and the gloves and cleaning. We've seen other pro athletes do it. But, I think what we need is some of the locker room mentality, if that's the right word. You and I both grew up playing sports, and if there was an issue, and I didn't play past high school, but if there was an issue, coach would have it out in the locker room, man. Right now, he's going to say what he's going to say, but there's times where you can listen, you can get it off your chest, whether it's the team meeting per se, and that's kind of what we can do here, because for you and I, as couple of white dudes, there's stuff that we have said we try to understand, but clearly we don't have that full understanding. The idea that this goes on probably on a daily basis, when you do see it or you do hear about it, you think it's a one-off, and clearly it is not a one-off, a rare situation. For our black friends that we both have, we hear a story or two and you think, man, that really happened to you? Because it's hard for us to understand, because our experiences, if we get pulled over, are very different than when our black friends get pulled over.
It is one of those situations where we cannot understand, and I won't even imply that I can. All I can do is ask you to help me. Tell me what I need to do. We had a great caller earlier, and if you're on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines, we're going to get to you, I promise. Tony called earlier, and he said, one of the first things you can do is don't allow it near you. Don't laugh it off. If you hear something around you, somebody that is not of the belief that we are, that sounds bigoted, don't stand for it. It starts right around you. Do not just allow it to be the crazy uncle who's the racist. Don't stand for it. Don't stand for it, because that's where it starts, in the home. And if you don't allow it near you, it probably will start to lessen when it's not near you. That's the first we got from Tony, but there's so many other things that so many of us want to do. We just don't know how. Tell us how we can help, and I promise you guys are going to be out there doing it. I promise to you, anyone who feels that they have been, that need the help, that need to have the white privilege that I have to protect them, I'm there. I want to. Tell me how. Tell Jason and I how we can help. Let's go to the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. Wick called him. Wick, welcome aboard, man.
Glad to be able to talk to you guys finally. I was thinking about this too. Something you just brought up was the fact that people have grown up with this hatredism. I mean, you and I apparently not, like Jason, I grew up military and was around it all the time, but those people have been surrounded by that, and then they're teaching their kids that. How the question really becomes, how do you change the minds and hearts of those people over a long period of time that have just held on to that belief?
Wick, that is the $1 million question that's been posed since time immemorial. How do you change the hearts of those that were actually brought up in a situation that is fundamentally anti to what you believe? Fundamentally, it is everything opposite of you. How do you change something that's been ingrained in somebody since they were born? I think the first thing, and I don't know how the fix is, no one does, but you have to understand where they're coming from, why they feel that way, and make sure that they know that it is not acceptable. This is not the way that we live here in America. And I think we have let people go on too long by saying, you live your life, I'll live mine. They're living their life to the detriment of others. And we've reached a point in 2020 where I think we have this singular purpose that we will see the beginnings of change, because quite frankly, where else can we go? What else is left? I mean, we've been running on the same treadmill for 50 years.
Yeah, if not longer. And it is a two-way street. When you hear athletes that will say, they weren't around, a black athlete will say they weren't around any white people until they got to the college locker room, or until they got to college. And, they're, I don't know what the right answer is on what he just said. Ask the question. If you grow up in an area that is predominantly white, and you don't have black friends, and, and you're raised that way, until you're integrated in a working environment, I don't know what the answer is. You know what I mean? But how do you fix that? How do you fix that? I mean, you look around San Antonio, you do have some predominantly white schools. You do have some predominantly black schools. And every city in America is that way, that has multiple high schools.
It's unacceptable behavior. That's the first thing you let everyone know. If you think that, if you believe and are a bigot, it's unacceptable. I'm not going to accept the fact that you were raised in an all-white environment and now that's how you believe. Well, you know what? You were taught wrong. You learned math the wrong way. You're adding 2 + 2 does not equal 5, whether your daddy told you that all your life or not. It is unacceptable, and don't accept it in your personal life. I think that's one of the first things that we can do. We can't just laugh it off and say he's a good person other than being a bigot. You're not a good person if you're a bigot. And I think a lot of us allow those guys that coming through our lives that, who they are, the people, the families, who they are. And we allow that because there's other things that they do good. Well, that's not enough. And I think so many of us let that go. It is no longer acceptable, even in behind closed doors, to be that. And I think that's one of the earliest steps that we can make. Do not allow it in your life. If you know of something, if you perceive something, don't stand for it. And I think a lot of us go, well, it's not me. It's not going to affect me at all, so they can be what they want. I just won't deal with them. No, you let them know this is not acceptable. If you ever want to be in my orbit, you can't act or be that way.
And I think you're right there. It's, if you're with a guy that you've been around for a long time, and, you're at the bar, you're wherever at the house, and, a joke or two is mentioned, don't laugh at it. And, don't be afraid to tell that guy, dude, if that's the way you think, man, we can't be friends. Or at least, start the conversation. You realize how bad that sounds coming out? Well, it was just a joke. Was it?
No. Absolutely right. There are no more jokes here. What are your thoughts? The Kielbasa Bacon phone line, 656-3776, 656-ESPN. In San Antonio, we are blessed to have a basketball team that represents the very best of us. For 20 years, we have not had to deal with a lot of other stuff, and it's been led by a coach, by a general manager who's been the first on the forefront of this, been the most outspoken of any professional coach, I would say, in the world. Greg Popovich has very much been a part of understanding what his players and what his African-American black athletes have gone through, and has been always on the cutting edge, the first to call what he sees as racism. He never has backed up, even as we were going through the Colin Kaepernick issue. So I think as San Antonians, we've been on the kind of the leading edge because we've had voices that we respect that aren't elected politicians, that are essentially coaches, that have led us in a way to understand that there is a problem. So we're lucky in that. But he's taken his slings and arrows too here in San Antonio. Stick to sports.
He has, and again, I mean, you think Pop had some incredible comments today that he made as part of a coaches coalition that the NBA put together. He did an interview, and quite frankly, it sounds what he said today very similar to what he said years ago when talking on the issue. When you think about Greg Popovich on our current president, things he said the same sounded like what he said this from 2017.
I'm a rich white guy, and I'm sick to my stomach thinking about it. I can't imagine being a Muslim right now, or a woman, or an African American, an Hispanic, a handicapped person, how disenfranchised they might feel. And for anyone in those groups that voted for him, it's just beyond my comprehension how they ignore all that. And so my final conclusion is, my big fear is we are Rome.
That was from November 11th of 2016.
There was a political tinge to that, and certainly that's part of the conversation. This is not a political radio station. We are not going to talk politics. We'll talk morals. We'll talk ethics, but we're not going to talk politics. That's a much deeper pool than we want to jump into. But we understand that no matter where you are, no matter what you put on your head, no matter what you pray to, we're all human beings here. And it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It matters the content of your character. And I think Pop's always been on the front line of that. And one of the things that I think, Jason, that we need to start addressing, and Ron, I know that you're on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines we're going to get to in just a bit. Please hang on. Do you think, Jason, and this is all of us desperate to find answers, the idea of a colorless society, can we all agree that's not possible? Can we all agree that we can't have and don't really want a colorless society? That we have to understand that there are whites and there are blacks and there are Mexicans and there's Puerto Ricans and there's all of us. And what you are is what you are. I'm not going to look past that. I need to accept that's what you are. I think we've tried to say we're a colorless society. We don't want to see color. We've gone down the wrong road, man. I think we've gone down there. I think we should all want to see the glorious colors that we've got, and to try to hide behind we're all equal because underneath the skin we're all red. No, let's look at the skin. It's okay. You're black. You're white. It's okay. We are all human beings. And I think we've tried to subjugate the idea that, well, he's black. I accept him because there's no color. Accept the blackness. Accept the whiteness. I'm white. I'm boring. I eat a lot of cream corn. It's okay. We're white folks.
Was it Jalen Rose who said it? I forget exactly how he said about that.
I wish we love black people as much as we love black
culture. Yeah. And I hear that, and I'm, and again, race discussions have always been very difficult for me personally, because growing up in a military family, my friends growing up were every race you could think of: Hispanic, Asian, black. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, it was just that when you grow up, there wasn't a predominantly white school or that's not how I grew up. So it's always been uncomfortable for me. But I'm fine right now being uncomfortable, trying to figure out what the right answer is, because as Pop said. This from 2017, and he kind of echoed it in some comments today. We live in a racist country.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. The league is made up of a lot of black guys, so to honor that and understand it, is pretty simplistic. How would you ignore that? But more importantly, we live in a racist country that hasn't figured it out yet. And it's always important to bring attention to it, even if it angers some people. The point is that you have to keep it in front of everybody's nose. They understand it still hadn't been taken care of, and we have a lot of work to do.
That was a couple of years ago, and the same thing rings exactly true to say. If I would have said, Pop said this earlier today, you go, yep. But that was from 2017.
We're searching for answers. What do you think? The Kielbasa Bacon phone line, 656-3776, 656 ESPN. We'd like to welcome on the Blitz Ron.
Hey, how's it going? Hey,
Good,
how's
Ron.
it going?
Good to have you.
Yeah, one of my thoughts is we as a white society are really good about, here's the play. Let's take control of it. And this is a situation where we can't. And that's what's been happening year after year after year, is we have to, as a white society, understand we are the problem in most instances and take the back seat and be a supporter in this situation. And understand, no, I don't understand what it's like to be a black man. Never said I did. But I understand and I believe in what they believe. And if that's what's happening, I'm behind them 100%. But I have to be a follower now. I can't be afraid to follow the quote unquote black man. We have to put them in leadership, just like this coalition, the NBA. Doc Rivers, those guys need to be heading this up. Popovich needs to be a supporter. He didn't grow up as a black man. He doesn't know. He hasn't felt it. He may know it. He may be aware of it, but he's never experienced it because he's never been a black man. So at this point, that's why right now, a black president would be a great president right now for these situations. If we could get a black Congress, a black Senate, we'd probably make headway. But
that's the first and most tangible thing, yes.
Back and quit being scared.
And don't you know, Ron, that scared is the bottom line on this?
That's
don't you know the
exactly
bottom
right.
line?
It is. It's fear. It's all fear-based.
Ron, we want to thank you for your call. You're absolutely right. I think it's time for those in control. We haven't fixed it. I mean, I say 50 years since the Civil Rights Act was passed. And Jason, it's been going on, of course. Yeah, it's been going on for 200 years. And been a white man in front of all this from the very beginning. Obviously, we don't know what we're doing. We can't fix it. And we're too afraid to relinquish because of the other issues that go on into the political side of what is morally right. And we let politics get in the way of morals. And I don't know how we got where we are, but this is where we are. And to stay, we're going to step aside. You're going to tell us how to fix this, and we're going to do it. Is the answer, but getting to that answer from where we sit today is going to take a lot of steps, and hopefully we've reached that bottom. That what is it when alcoholics say they meet that have that moment what's the I want to say come to Jesus moment, that moment where you go, I can't do what I've been doing anymore. I can't do this anymore. What I've been doing is fundamentally wrong. It's scary to say that, and as a society to say it, it's even more frightening because it points the bad stuff at us.
And again, I mean, and you look at to that point, the 12-step process, somewhere in there, it's going to say vote, but it's not just vote in the presidential election. It's voting in the primaries. It's voting, for your local city council, your local judges, your local district attorney, your local sheriff. It's vote local, vote statewide, and then you vote in the national elections. I think that's part of it. But I think, having the discussion, whether it's what we're doing here, voices need to be heard, but there's more than just hearing it. Then you hear it, then you put together an action plan, and then how do you enact that action plan? I think it's more than just okay, I'm listening, all right, but if I hear you but I don't do anything, what am I really doing? Nothing. I mean, it's one thing to say voices need to be heard. I think we've been hearing voices for years and years and years. You go back to Dr. King and his marches. Action speaks louder. I saw earlier an interview that was posted with John Mule Miles, and Jerry Briggs had tweeted out an article that he put together today about his last conversation with the mule, and it wasn't until he was 90 in this article where John Mule Miles actually opened up some about everything that he went through in the Negro Leagues. And I know the couple times I got to interview Mr. Miles, and you would try to go down that road, he wouldn't let you. He didn't want to talk about the stuff that he went through. And then I guess at 90, a month before he passed away, he opened up to Jerry Briggs, who wrote a great article today that you can find on Twitter. But it is, there's one thing about talking it and listening, but then once you hear it, what are you going to do about it?
You all have to take control of our situations. Certainly lots of answers needed and lots of work to be done. Let's go back to the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. Wookie dialed him. Welcome aboard, Wook. What's up?
Nothing much, fellas. Just real quick, I want to, and y'all hit on it, man. Lonnie Walker, man, way to step up, man. He didn't go out there and try to get media exposure for this and look what I'm doing. He just went out there as a human being, not a color, human being doing the right thing. And for that, man, I mean, that's like top 5 Spur all time. I don't care what his scoring average is. I appreciate that as being a San Antonio resident. But you know what? So much, man, we say sports bind us, it heals us, everything. And that's very true. But at the same time, if you ever notice, sports is just as much to have a guilt game in this. The reason why I say that is whenever you mention Larry Bird, do you ever say he's a great power, great small forward? No. They say, man, he was great for a white guy. Whenever they talked about Doug Williams winning the Super Bowl, well, the first black quarterback. Why can't he just be an athlete? Why can't all these people just be an athlete? And it's our fault. I mean, it's everybody's fault. We say, oh, Larry Bird, greatest white guy to ever play. Doug Williams, Cam Newton, all these guys, white, just athletes, man. Just athletes. And it's like Jason, I grew up in a military home. When I got married, my best men would line up, looked like a Gap commercial. I had a black guy, an Asian guy, a hillbilly. I mean, I had them all. And the thing is, if you don't know somebody from another race, culture, anything, you kind of have to ask yourself, why haven't you opened your mind and your heart to find out about that person? That's all I got to say.
Truth, Wookie, thanks for the call. As always, everybody is welcome aboard. 656-3776, 656-ESPN are those Kielbasa Bacon phone numbers. If you're not comfortable speaking, it's easy to type them as well. Go to the Maddie McMurphy Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed, at ESPNSA, at Jason Minix, at Rob Thompson ESPN, or at I Am Pledger, whoever you're comfortable with speaking to it about. Open up and let us know what you're thinking, because certainly 2020 is weird and it's only getting weirder. We're not even halfway through the year. You might not remember this name, Joe Lockhart. Joe Lockhart was the press guy for the NFL back when the Colin Kaepernick kneeling situation first began. He has since left the NFL and is a political reporter. He wrote a column today. I'm not going to say it's groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but I think we're seeing a little bit behind what the NFL was going through. And if what he's saying is absolutely true, then Colin Kaepernick has a point and something to say. We're going to talk about what Joe Lockhart has to say about the NFL side of the Colin Kaepernick and kneeling saga that went through a couple of years back, and what are the effects on the current situation for Colin Kaepernick. Joe Lockhart's story coming up next here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Let me tell you about the great Kielbasa breakfast links that are now available at H-E-B stores throughout the San Antonio area, and these breakfast links are uniquely Kielbasa. Like the dinner sausage you already know and love, these links are crafted in small 150-pound batches with premium cuts of pork and hand-blended spices. They're free of added nitrates, gluten filler, MSG, and other chemicals that you can't pronounce. They're bursting with flavor, not the dried, shriveled-up breakfast links you usually find in stores, and they come fully cooked, so you can pop them in the microwave for an easy breakfast on the go. And if you're on one of those no-carb diets, Kielbasa breakfast links are perfect. Kielbasa breakfast links are premium, small batch breakfast links that live up to Kielbasa's high standards of quality. If they're not the best breakfast links you've ever tasted, call Michael Kielbasa. He'll give you your money back. So get into H-E-B. Get yourself some of those Kielbasa breakfast links today.
ESPN San Antonio's Dad's Distancing Dough, presented by Southern Recipe Small Batch. Enter to win now at ESPNSA.com and give Dad the best gift ever. The chance at $1,000, plus a year's supply of Southern Recipe Small Batch pork rinds.
It's true, things are bigger in Texas. Check it out, our foods, our sports, and yes, our hearts too. Getting hungry? Go to porkrinderecipe.com and make something big tonight. Award-winning chef Tim Byers and Southern Recipes small batch pork rinds are cooking with heart. Each time you watch or share their newest video, they'll donate $5 to Blessings in a Backpack, helping kids who are food insecure right now. And you can find Southern Recipes small batch pork rinds at HEB. Southern Recipes small batch, it's a different kind of rind.
With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, we do too. So as America starts opening back up for business, and as more of us start getting back out there again, we'll be in big cities, small towns, and everywhere in between, doing what we've always done to help keep our local communities moving forward. So whether you stop by a Napa Auto Parts store, Auto Care Center, or visit us at Napa Online, you can count on Napa know-how.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores, the score used by 90% of top lenders, for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes, always for free. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines, and the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Grainger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Time for an oil change. Don't sweat it. We'll help you find the products you need for the job. Regular oil changes keep your engine running smoother, and doing it yourself will save you time and money. We have all the products you're looking for, from oil to oil filters. And next time, you can get what you need even faster. Just order online at AutoZone.com with our free same-day store pickup. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines, and the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Grainger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through.
It's the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com, as Ray Charles offers us a little bit softer notes as we come into a Monday where it just feels like everything around us is cracking apart. I got no sports. I can't go to work. There's hard to find food. I got a fox eating my chickens outside. It's been raining nonstop. I got
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Wait. You're having a hard time finding food?
Well, I've never really had that problem. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you had a great rant going, but what? You're not having a hard time finding food. I mean, I see what you post on the Facebooks every weekend, man. You're eating well.
I shouldn't have said that, but I'm down 2 chickens.
He has a hard time cooking the food.
No, I haven't had that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But anyway, we lost. There was tragedy on Thompson Hill. Something got in the chicken coop, made a couple of chickens, and in these day and ages, that's like I'm like a genuine farmer. That's like a lost revenue. That's lost eggs for me.
Well, wait a minute. What got in there?
We don't know, man. It climbed the chicken wire, so it's either a cat or a fox. The best thing we can figure out.
All right, but they only took 2 chickens.
That's why we think it might be a cat or maybe a smaller fox, because we do have a couple of dogs that run around and maybe it's scared them out. But whoever got them went to the goody bits, ate the good part of the chicken, just left the bad parts in a variety of places and feathers around the backyard. Yeah, no, it wasn't pretty. But, on Thompson Hill, we've gone through far worse. But this one was oh, my God, something got a hold of 2 of the good ones. Anyway. It just kind of sums up this weekend. I know. How did you feel when you woke up this morning, Jason? Honestly, did you wake up this morning and go, it is Monday? Or did you wake up and see the news and went, here we go?
it was you know. It was harder waking up on Sunday morning than it was today.
True, very true.
And I can say that I mean, throughout this whole work from home thing, every Monday's kind of been about the same. Where typically you look forward to the weekends. Mondays you got things to do work wise and a little bit more of a schedule. So my Mondays have been all kind of about the same throughout all this.
Yeah.
Sunday morning was hard to wake up to. It was hard to go to bed Sunday night, just watching the news in disbelief, going from, the local news with Randy Beamer and the incredible coverage that he had downtown with his camera. I thought Channel 4 killed it, Robert Price anchoring, but Beamer being downtown with his video camera when you saw the windows start to break, that was stunning, because I didn't expect that in San Antonio, home to the largest Martin Luther King march in the country. To see our city that way. It was hard enough watching Austin and Dallas and Houston and going, at least I know San Antonio won't do that. And San Antonio did. And, we can't blame others. That was our city. And it was hard to watch our city, then see our city on national news coverage lumped in with Los Angeles and the fires that were there and DC and everything else that was going on. It was hard to watch on Saturday night.
Protest. Just don't riot. We want to hear your voices. Get out on the streets, make the walk, do what you got to do, but leave it there. That's what America is. The violence, and it was just so awful to watch. And I just never thought I'd see it in my city. I never believed that in San Antonio, right there on Commerce Street, that there would literally be looting and rioting at River Center Mall. Can't happen again. Stand up, San Antonio. Don't let this happen again. Protest. Stand out there. Be belligerent, but don't be violent. Use your vote. Use your voice. What we saw Saturday, we can never see again in this city. We're too good for this. And it's funny. How many callers have we had come on today and say, hey, I'm military? We grew up in a different boat than a lot of people did. With the segregation, in the military, that was long gone for most of us. Live that way, San Antonio. And if you see somebody out not doing it right, make sure everybody knows that they're not doing it right. And that it was just so awful to watch. If you got something to say, the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are 656-3776, 656-ESPN. You call them, you get on. Nick did. Nick, welcome on the Blitz.
Hey, guys. For a second, it sounded like you were living in a van down by the river.
Well, I do.
Yeah. So, I just have so many thoughts on this. My main thought is being my parents' age and talking to them. They were Lee volunteers, like maybe the greatest high school football team in the city's history was Tommy Kramer and the Lee Volunteers. And if you look back and you see what it's built on, and I'm probably going to get a lot of pushback, probably a bunch of old bags on Facebook. And it's the Robert E. Lee Volunteers. I don't care. It was wrong. And when they did it, and when they brought back the school and they named it, it was in the 1950s when segregation was happening. You cannot tell me that was an accident. It's a bad thing. And I feel bad for the people that played and the great players and Pat Rocket and all the stuff. Like, they were a great team and they don't need to be ashamed of that. But maybe we can all be adults and realize, oh, that was part of my childhood that was really shameful. And it's not good, and it's not mistakes we should be repeating to this day. But every time I see a post about Lee High School or anything, they're like, well, that was Robert E. Lee High School, not leadership and excellent education or whatever. But that is an idea that flows through the city. And that's a problem. It just is. I don't know what to say about it other than that. I appreciate you guys.
The forum is always there for you. Thank you so much for the call. And it's a valid point. And it speaks to the high school names, the statues that are out there, this ongoing symbols of oppression that we look at as, well, he was a general in the Civil War. But if you were an African, if you're a black man, Robert E. Lee was the enemy. He was literally the man fighting to keep you enslaved. And that's the high school you went to. It's all a matter of perspective. And certainly there are good and bad about all. But if you feel oppressed in the name of the high school or the statue that bothers you, then who are we to say you shouldn't be bothered?
It's true. Although I mean, you can't discount the history. And, I think about my daughter who just graduated from Sam Houston State University. And, you look at Sam Houston's past and, when they were trying to pull down the Big Sam statue right there on I-45. And I mean, to a degree, changing the name of a high school, it's tough. I know, I went to Copper's Cove High School and they renamed or respelled how you spelled Bulldogs. They changed it from DOGS to DAWGS. Or when you look at Southwest Texas State being changed to Texas State, there's something about changing the name of something that's been around for a long time. You either change it completely or coming up with the acronym for Lee, I always thought was just a little odd. And you know what? All the people that have been around forever, they still call it Lee. It is interesting when you look at it. And I mentioned earlier about the vandalism downtown on Twitter. Edmund Ortiz at SAT Scribe. He writes, please do emphasize that, as the police chief said, it was outsiders, agitators who caused the problems after the protest officially ended. I know that's what he said, but until they release who got arrested and what their addresses were, I mean, it was still happening in our city, whether they came in from out of town to cause trouble or not. It was still a reflection of San Antonio.
Yes. Outside, inside, there were people from San Antonio who stood by and watched it happen. Shame on you. You stood by and watched it happen. You decided to stay there long after the protest had turned into a belligerent near riot. You decided to stay. And then you watched something happen. You lived here. You watched it happen. Shame on you. Shame on you. And anybody who did do it, there is no limit to what I would do criminally to them. I mean, literally, if it's a 10-year sentence, it needs to be every minute of 10 years. You can't loot in our city. I don't care what your reasoning behind it is. You can't do it. It was as wrong as anything has ever been wrong to anybody else. You can't fight that way. You can protest, but this, I know it's the voice of the unheard. That is what rioting is. It's a symptom of a much deeper thing, but you fix the symptom. You don't riot. We protest in a fashion that gets the attention without taking away from others. And what we saw was taking away from others who are in the same boat. And it's just awful. And what happens for those that do it, and if it was agitators, they have their own agenda. But what happens is those that are not 100% on board as to this is as bad as we say it is, they point to the violence in the streets as opposed to what brought it. And we lose sight of that. You get our president saying, be hard on them. We're losing sight of why this even began because of those interlopers, those outsiders. I understand your anger. We're there with you. You can't let that happen. It's a better sight to say, if you're in your neighborhood, stand up and protect it. It's easy for me to say, though. I'm a white man. I was far away from the protest. I should have been down there. I think a lot of us are looking at that going, should have been down there. Maybe we could have made a difference. What do you have to say? 656-3776, 656 ESPN. We got to get out. James is going to have a heart attack. We are way over. We'll be right back. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
In San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. Having a water softener is not a luxury item. It is a necessity. I highly recommend you get your water softener. I got mine, and that is from Alamo Water Softeners. I've had an Alamo water softener for years, and it works great. And you're going to instantly tell the difference, and you can tell when you go to a friend's house, stay there, and they don't have a water softener, you certainly know. And Alamo Water Softener is a great local San Antonio company. The Townsends are from here. They started the company here, and they've been changing the San Antonio water treatment industry one happy customer at a time. Call Alamo Water Softeners, 210-274-6122. At Alamo Water Softeners, they offer you high-quality, low-cost, low-maintenance water softeners for your home. You're going to double the life of your appliances, and you'll see a 20 to 30% savings on energy used by your water heater. Call 210-274-6122. Mention my name, Jason Minix, and you'll receive free basic installation. You'll also receive a free reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of select new Alamo water softeners. Remember the Alamo water softeners, 274-6122 or alamowatersofteners.com.
Never get left out of the conversation. Tweet the show on the Maddie McMurphy's Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed at ESPN_SF.
That's my bad. I was sending a tweet.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
In times like these, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed every day by patients facing a range of serious illnesses. If you're healthy, please schedule an appointment to donate by visiting redcrossblood.org.
Okay, so where do more Americans turn first in the morning to start their day? Go on, tell them, Robin.
Good morning, America.
George.
Good morning, America.
Lara.
Good morning, America.
So, take it from Robin.
Put some good in your morning
with ABC's Good Morning America.
In times like these, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed every day by patients facing a range of serious illnesses. If you're healthy, please schedule an appointment to donate by visiting redcrossblood.org.
Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green, the iconic cleaning formula known around the globe. Try a Simple Green product today, and if you're not 100% satisfied, I'll refund your money. Visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green. Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity Band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
At the shops at La Cantera.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Foot odor throwing you off your game? Stick to a winning game plan with odor eaters featuring 3 advanced odor and wetness fighters. The lineup provides long-lasting odor control plus more to keep your feet on their game. Odor Eaters powder provides outstanding moisture control. Clear drying spray is the MVP in preventing athlete's foot, while insoles work continuously to manage wetness while adding a layer of comfort. Pick up today at Walmart, Target, CVS, Dollar General, or other fine retailers. Odor Eaters. Destroy foot odor with the best in odor defense.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Hi. Guess we should talk about something. How's the vermicelli game in your town? Got any good Vietnamese restaurants? Vermicelli? Oh, it's a noodle. Very good. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It is the Blitz. They're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. Thank you so much for dialing us in. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. James Pledger with us. The Blitz is brought to you by the Thompson Law Firm, an experienced personal injury attorney who's about a phone call away. Jason Thompson available to you, 210-900-0400, or go to alawyer4us.com. You know, it's funny that after what we've seen for the last week after the George Floyd, the Floyd murder, Joe Lockhart, formerly of the NFL, he was the press guy with the NFL. He was the one who spoke to the press and offered the NFL's point of view on a variety of things. Wrote a column today, and he has since left the NFL and is now a political writer, regarding Colin Kaepernick. And according to him, he's not an NFL quarterback because exactly of kneeling, that it's not about anything other than that he was fully capable. And the story that he was asking for starter money and that was going, would only come if he was going to be a starter. That's not the reason he's not an NFL quarterback. He's not an NFL quarterback today because of the political stands he took 4 years ago.
According to Lockhart, Kaepernick was not blocked because the league wanted to punish him. Signing Kaepernick, according to Lockhart, was bad for business. An executive from one team that considered signing Kaepernick told me the team projected losing 20% of their season ticket holders if they did. He wasn't, when you read this article, was he blackballed? Was there, quite frankly, I think there's a little bit of truth to all the stories that we've all heard about Colin Kaepernick. Did he want starter money? Did he have workouts planned? I'm pretty sure that if it was reported there were workouts and there really weren't, then Kaepernick and his people would have told us right away, his representatives, hey, that's not true. That's not true. So I think there's probably a little bit of truth in what Lockhart said, but also with what we have heard in years past. And I think there's a lot of truth in what you've said for years. You don't think that Colin Kaepernick really wants to play football anymore?
I don't. I think he did, but I think that he needs to be the martyr. He understands that a movement like that needed a martyr, and he needed to stand by his guns. And I know he wanted to play football. I don't have any doubt in my mind. I know that his career was on the waning end, and I think that he used the ability to say, I'm a starting quarterback. I want you to pay me starting money, and then I will show up, to keep him kind of on the fringes, because we needed Colin Kaepernick to be what he was, and to be an NFL quarterback, he would have been constrained. He could not have done. He might have continued to try, but we heard an owner. Look, we would have lost 20%, which I think that guy's a coward, by the way. I don't know of any owner that would sacrifice one penny to go win. So if you're saying that and you passed on a quarterback that you thought would have helped, but you were afraid of ticket sales, coward. I wouldn't want to be a fan of your team. First of all, go win, and we'll fix everything after that if you can do it. But
and then let's face it, you might have lost some season ticket holders. You would have gained a lot back. I think it came more down to, if he's your backup quarterback and he's a story every day, that's a distraction that most don't want to have to deal with. And, timing of it is one thing why Cam Newton doesn't have a job today. Part of it's his injuries and all that other stuff. But I think the other part is, if you bring in Cam to be your backup, there's going to be a lot of pressure on your starting quarterback and a lot of stories. You want your backup quarterback to be kind of what the Cowboys have right now with Andy Dalton. He's there. He's good if you need him, but nobody's going to talk about him.
And Colin wasn't going to take a back seat. I don't blame him. He had a platform that he has capitalized on since. And being an NFL quarterback would have added to it, but it certainly would have also taken away the time that he would have offered. Anybody who wouldn't have signed him because it would have made a better team because of his political stance, coward. I wouldn't want to be a fan of whatever team that was. That means you're not into winning. When we get back, I want to talk about a weird situation. Lenny Dykstra. I've heard his name bandied about the last 20 years or so. I knew he wasn't a bad guy, but I had no idea how bad it was. Wait till we tell you about Lenny Dykstra and his reputation that cannot be fixed, according to a judge. We'll talk about it next on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Now, you know what can be fixed? Your wing craving. You're hungry. You want some wings? Wingstop now delivers. Go to wingstop.com to get flavor delivered right to your door. At Wingstop, they're continuing to feed your crave through carry out and delivery, including the option for no contact delivery. So you can count on Wingstop for classic and boneless wings, sauced and tossed, and 11 mouth-watering sauces and dry rubs, freshly made just for you. For lunch, for dinner, you want that late-night wing snack? Go to wingstop.com for piping hot wings. So crush your crave for classic and boneless wings at wingstop.com or by downloading the Wingstop app. Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings.
The coronavirus has changed our lives. It's shut down the tournament. It's shut down the NBA. It's delayed baseball's opening day. When will our sports return? Get the latest right here. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Injuries happen even during a crisis. When they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, sports injuries, dislocations, and sprains and strains. With 2 locations, they have extended hours Monday through Saturday, on-site x-ray, casting, and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury with no urgent care or emergency room copay. Injured? Get to Ortho Now. Visit TSAOG.com/Ortho Now for more information.
With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, we do too. So as America starts opening back up for business, and as more of us start getting back out there again, we'll be in big cities, small towns, and everywhere in between, doing what we've always done to help keep our local communities moving forward. So whether you stop by a Napa Auto Parts store, Auto Care Center, or visit us at Napa Online, you can count on Napa know-how.
We're here to tell you about Boost Mobile's new upgraded network.
That's right. Stronger signal, faster speeds, and more coverage.
So now you can get everything you want faster, like Pitbull's music.
No, the new upgraded network means you can download music faster than ever before. It doesn't mean that it will make Pitbull songs faster.
Oh, so this isn't the song.
No, this is the song.
Well, this is embarrassing.
Step up with Boost Mobile's new upgraded network. Stronger signal, faster speeds, more coverage than before. Switch and get 4 unlimited lines for $25 per line per month and 4 free LG K51 phones. Access to upgraded network requires compatible device. New customers only. 4-line offer requires at least 1 port and activation from eligible carrier. Free phone limited to 1 per line while supplies last. Customers using more than 35 gigabytes of data during billing cycle may be deprioritized during times of congestion. Offers and coverage not available everywhere. Additional terms and restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com or retailer for full details.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. Thanks for dialing us in. A little bit of levity in what is a weird day and a weird time in America. Lenny Dykstra nails. You know, he's one of those baseball players that everybody loved because he gave it all. He was everything that Lenny Dykstra could be on the baseball field. But since he left baseball, that dude has been in one mess after the other. I know that there was some money laundering issues, some tax avoidance. I know there's been some drugs in there. Well, about a year ago, Ron Darling, remember him, pitcher with the Mets, published a book. And in the book, he said that Len Dykstra, at some point in a Boston Red Sox series back in the 90s, screamed at Oil Can Boyd and screamed some racial epithets. Some racial slurs were thrown at Oil Can. Dykstra heard that, immediately sued for libel and slander. How dare you say that about me? Ron Darling retorted, look, man, when your reputation is mud, I can't ruin a muddy reputation. It's already there. And guess what? The judge agreed. It doesn't matter what you say about Lenny Dykstra. You can't make it any worse. The suit was thrown out.
Yeah, the judge said, quote, Dykstra's reputation is already so tarnished that it cannot be further injured. Wow.
You cannot get so basically you can say anything about Lenny Dykstra in the press, and the precedent has been set by a judge saying, yeah, that doesn't hurt you. You're no worse off today than when he called you a racist. I mean, you're still a bad dude, man.
Now, I don't know what team the judge Robert Kalish is a fan of, but I'm guessing not the Mets or Phillies. Quote, based on the paper submitted on this motion, prior to the publication of the book, Dykstra was infamous for being, among other things, racist, misogynist, and anti-gay, as well as a sexual predator, a drug abuser, a thief, and an embezzler. Further, Dykstra had a reputation, largely due to his autobiography, of being willing to do anything to benefit himself and his team, including using steroids and blackmailing umpires. I think that's got to be on his tombstone, right? That I mean, I think the judge just wrote his tombstone. Right.
Lenny Dykstra, at least you're owning it, man. At least if you're in the mud, just get muddy, man. Wear it all the way around. Yeah, you cannot slander a guy who is slander-proof. Who would have thought that was actually a thing? The incremental harm doctrine, it's already bad enough, man. He didn't make it any worse. That should make you feel better. No matter how you are today, at least you're not Lenny Dykstra.
Yeah, well, he hit Twitter and tweeted that Darling is a liar, called out Dale Murphy for not having his back, and then he retweeted all the messages of support that he got. Both of them.
Good for you. Good for both of them. Good for you, Lenny Dykstra. Carry on the good fight. Yeah, those are the only two. When we get back, we'll look around the sporting world. Major League Baseball, it's ugly, but we're getting close. We're going to hear on Thursday whether the NBA is going to begin. And if you're a high school baseball or softball player in Iowa, go get your glove. They're on the field right now. They have begun playing in Iowa. We'll look around the sporting world coming back. Hang around here on the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Is your portfolio concentrated in the international markets, especially China? Hi, this is Darrell Lyons with Pax Financial Group. It could be time to have Pax Financial Group do a checkup on your portfolio. Also, if you were recently laid off, before you withdraw from your IRA, talk with Pax Financial Group. We will double check to make sure it's a good long-term decision. Call Pax Financial Group at 210-881-5700 or online at paxfinancialgroup.com.
Investment advisory and insurance services are offered by Pax Financial Group.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
At the shops at La Cantera.
Nobody plans on getting arrested, but it happens. Get out of jail fast by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. Call AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans and are open 24/7. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
It could be a routine drive to pick up the kids after school or an epic road trip across the country. No matter where your travels take you, we know those miles count. We're Marathon. We have over 5,700 stations across our great nation. Our people are working hard every day to provide you with quality top-tier gasoline to improve engine performance and fuel your life. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Trade Pros. Ferguson is committed to making business with us the easiest part of your day. Ferguson.com is designed to help run your business from the office to the job site by making your day-to-day activities easier with 24/7 account access, unmatched online inventory, and on-the-go account management. And with our Pro Plus customer loyalty program, you can earn points with every online purchase, redeemable for merchandise, event tickets, trips, and more. Sign up today at Ferguson.com.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Shake and bake.
What does that do? Did that blow your mind?
That just happened.
KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. Thank you so much for dialing us in on a Monday. Unlike any Monday I've ever gone through, as Jason Minix sitting in his lovely casa, I'm in mine. James Pledger, socially distanced down at the station. So Monday, after a weekend of most glorious expedition, we saw a rocket ship blast off into space, taking 2 Americans up to the International Space Center. No sooner that's done than we see rioting breaking out across our country and here in San Antonio. It hit home, and I didn't think it was going to hit home. And when it did, it hit right in my living room. As I wake today, Jason, I think so many of us wake today wondering, what can we do? We've got to stop. We've got to fix it. Passive agreement with what is wrong isn't enough anymore. We can all agree that is wrong, that this needs to be fixed. We've seen it happen too many times, and we've got to play a role in fixing it. And I'm talking to those that have a bit of privilege, because they were born a different color. They were born white. Like me, I've had a privilege that I didn't ask for, but I got, and I've utilized it. And some don't have it. We're going to have to start using that privilege to protect those that were not born with a ridiculous idea that we get to do stuff that others don't.
You know, watching all the coverage over the weekend, as hard as it's been, and even you see George Floyd's brother right now calling for an end of violence, an end of this violence, because that's not going to bring him back. But you see all the frustration, and over the last several weeks, there's been huge race stories in our country, and so I think George Floyd just was the tipping point, because quite frankly, almost like the Ray Rice video, we watched it happen. We watched life leave that man's body, and it was senseless. We didn't need to see that. We didn't want to see that, but we did. And the frustration and the anger overcomes everybody. And, you know, we keep talking about what we can do to change. You know, we're middle-aged white guys, as you said. We were born white. So we have what's white privilege that we didn't ask for, but we've got it. But what can we do? And that's where we want to invite you in, because I think the best thing we can do is listen. First and foremost, listen, because, you know, we have our black friends that tell us stories, and we hear a story and we're, you know, oh my God, that really happened. But you'll think it's a one-off. But the reality is this is happening far too often. And you and I both have friends that are on the police force, and we know there's a lot of good police officers out there. Most of them are probably good. And then we say, well, there's a few bad apples. What can the police department do to get rid of those bad apples? I mean, there are a handful of jobs out there that you can't be bad at your job. You just mentioned SpaceX. We launched a space shuttle on Saturday afternoon, a private company. Everybody working on that space shuttle had to be really good at their job. They couldn't have one guy as a bad apple, because what would happen if that were the case? I mean, there's a handful of jobs out there that you just can't have bad apples, right? I think the police department is at the point where they can't have bad apples anymore, and they can't cover it up. And getting rid of a bad apple has to be easier than it is right now.
I think that would be an easy fix. You got to be able to we need to know who the bad cops are, because we believe that cops know who the bad cops are. I believe that cops know who they are. And I understand that there is the mentality that these guys have to have my back. Good cop, bad cop, as long as he's got my back, we'll muddle through and I'll do my best to fix it. And there needs to be that. You need to be able to trust your fellow cops. But at the same time, we have to know. And I think there's been a fundamental issue with that. You brought up something earlier about the cops getting fired and moving one couple cities away and getting another gig, because, quite frankly, getting a peace officer's license is hard. And it's hard to find people that are going to become cops. Well, there needs to be some sort of database that if somebody's been fired for cause for this, you can't ever work again. And that's a minor thing. There's so many of the minutia that none of us understand. We're just trying to find a way to get it fixed. And the sooner we can move forward, the better off we will all be. But we haven't taken that step, and it just feels like we've been on this treadmill forever. God bless those that went out and marched peacefully on Saturday night, that showed their true beliefs. That was San Antonio. What happened when the sun set? We're not alone, but gosh, it was my city. It was our San Antonio, and I will forever be ashamed of that. I never thought I would see it here. And for those that say it doesn't happen here, well, did you see what went on downtown Saturday, both the good and the bad? Obviously, it is happening in our city to an extent that luckily we haven't had the newsworthy singular events like what we see every couple of years, or a couple of months, with a black man being murdered or killed unarmed by a police officer. But obviously, there's a level of of discomfort from the minorities in San Antonio. I feel like it is going on. There is an issue here, and it has to be stopped. How do we help? That's all I can ask. What do I need to do? Because obviously what I've been doing ain't enough. It ain't enough because it continues.
And I think part of it is, like you said, I mean, we'll never fully understand what it's like to be a black man in America. You and I will we just can't. We can listen. We could try to learn. I felt like I have understood, but I've heard stories, but I don't see it on a daily basis. I don't. But they're not one-offs, and I think that's where it starts. You know, this isn't a random isolated incident. Every time we see these in the news, and you know, I forget who tweeted it or it was in the news. It's been everywhere, but you know, it's not that racism's getting worse; it's getting filmed now. I think it was Will Smith that had something like that, and
that's true.
And you know what? There's a lot of truth to that. You know, that situation down in Georgia, those guys didn't get charged till that video surfaced. You know, that guy was out on a run. No charges until there was video. Ray Rice, we saw a video in that situation, and there was the outrage, and obviously with what happened with George Floyd there in Minneapolis, and that's the part that I think is more baffling to me is these police officers know too that they are being filmed and the scrutiny that is going to come with it, and yet it is still happening. So even videotape and knowing that everything we do is videotaped doesn't change much. It just gives us the evidence to see what is going on. You would think video would change a lot of their attitudes because they know they're on film. You know, it's one thing for body cameras, but you know, when people were clearly filming the incident, those cops didn't do anything. You know, and I know it goes back to some of the basics. Training. Yeah, it's training. Then you realize, all right, that guy's had 18 times he's had complaints against him. Now, I know there's cops that will tell you if you've been on the job long enough, anybody can file a complaint. So how are those getting investigated? But stuff getting swept under the rug that we all know happens, even though you know, that kind of stuff has to stop. You know, we're often told, see something, say something. Doesn't that also apply to the police department on the inside of those police departments?
There has to be a mechanism for those to call the police on the police. And as we have now, there isn't. There is no mechanism that you can't call the cops on the cops. They're the cops. And that system is fostered under that idea for way too long. It's time to get things fixed in the broadest sense. And I know this is one of those questions that you throw out there, but as sports talk host, Jason, this is our life. We don't play it, but we certainly talk about it. Where do you see the role in sports carrying forward? Because obviously they've played the role of highlighting a problem. Colin Kaepernick, and that's the most recent, but many others have walked the lines that have showed us things that we didn't know existed. Where do you think sports goes from here? Is it a maintaining of where they are, or is the idea of stick to sports, you athlete, is that gone forever?
You know, clearly today isn't one of those days to stick to sports. And we typically on this show, we stay away from politics because we want to be the escape. There are times where you just can't do that, and today is one of those days.
This isn't politics, Jason. This is morality. We're not talking, and we never will talk politics. We'll talk morality every day of the week, and this is immoral.
And I think with sports, athletes have a platform. You know, we're a radio station. You and I, we have a platform. Athletes, you know, through their social media and through their teams, leagues, and they've got money. You know, you can have all the PSAs in the world, but what are you going to do in your community to change it? But I do think the influence that athletes and coaches have can bring about some change. You know, the University of Minnesota is saying we're not going to use the Minneapolis Police Department at our events when we get back to them. A lot of those cops make a lot of overtime dollars by working those events. You know, there's ways that they could do that. But I just think having a good message, watching Steven Jackson, who we've had on our show many times, so calm, yet so direct, I think carries so much weight with his words. Seeing Lonnie Walker leading by example on a Sunday morning. And if you've ever read about Lonnie's upbringing, for him to wake up on Sunday morning and go downtown with water and ask for gloves and a brush to start scrubbing paint, that's just love. I mean, he hasn't been in San Antonio a long time, but he certainly feels like he's a part of our community, far more than just an NBA player. But I do think that sports can carry the flag on this because, the influence they have is great. The white coaches that are in, especially on the college level, that go and they sit in the living rooms and they talk to a player's mother and father and other families, and I'm going to take care of your son and we're going to turn him into a man. They have the ability to connect all the communities together. And I think that's, first and foremost, you get everybody together. Well, who can do that? Who can go into every kind of community? It's those coaches. And then the players, once they're in the locker room, I saw a video that Sam Ellinger put out, and he put out, hey man, I went to a predominantly white high school. There's things I didn't know about till I got to college. It was honest, it was raw, but I think though there's a lot of players, a lot of people like Sam who don't know. There's a lot of, you've seen other black athletes say, I wasn't around white people till I got to college or until I was out of high school or joined the military or whatever. And, but I do think sports does play a big role for that reason. The locker room is a melting pot.
We have seen it in a variety of ways. And as we watched The Last Dance, Jordan was called out for not being political, for not speaking up to issues of race or gender equity. He was always, Republicans buy shoes too, and I want to make sure that I am someone to be looked up to from all. But as years have passed, even Michael Jordan has been outspoken, and we got another statement from him regarding this as well. So I do think that the higher end athletes, those that have the Q rating to get into everybody's living room across the world, went from when Colin Kaepernick started stepping forward and those that went with him, it went to one level of activism. I think we're taking another step through this. I can't imagine that we're going to come out of this without athletes playing a huge role in this. And I say this with the backdrop of what the NFL has done recently with the addition of Jay-Z and his group to kind of help with the NFL's idea of how their messages is being brought to the African-American community and how they're bringing folks together. We certainly know that Colin Kaepernick has been the martyr for this from the beginning, from taking the knee. I think we're going to see more and more of the activism. We saw it in the tweets from LeBron and the other NBA fans. If you're not with us, then you're against us, or essentially that term, which is, I think, a precursor to what these athletes of note, like LeBron, who carry far more cachet than as athletes, we're about to see a new era of activism from athletes. I don't think this is going away. This is being fed from a variety of ways, and it's the best thing possible. If the politicians can't fix it, somebody of note has to step into the void. And right now there's a big old void. Somebody step in and lead, because we're all looking to somebody to lead us. And it's probably going to end up being an athlete or a former athlete that takes us those first couple of steps.
And if you're of the mindset of stick to sports, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. Yeah. You because athletes are ones that can reach so many people and bring people together. And, like I said, I mean, watching Steven Jackson, so calm, and so powerful. Watching, I saw this video, a rapper named Killer Mike. And I don't know who Killer Mike is. I don't know that. I mean, if I've heard his music, I'd never heard of Killer Mike before, never heard the name. Watch that 7 minutes, and that was powerful. That was so powerful. Guys like that certainly can help bring people together, and it starts with listening, it starts with the understanding. And I think the big part is for guys like us to say, I want to understand, but I realize I don't understand.
And I don't ever claim to. I don't understand. Help me. Help us. But at the same time, this is not a political discussion. This has nothing to do with politics. This doesn't matter how you want to be taxed, whether you want to be taxed, how many laws should be there and here. This is about morality. This is far, far beyond it. Politics, far underneath the morality of what we are seeing. We're going to continue to talk about it because obviously what has been done has not worked. And what's the definition of insanity? Well, it's insane right now. We continue to try the same things and expecting a different result. And it continues to come back around, and around. What we want to hear from you. The Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are always an open venue for you. 656-3776. That's 656-ESPN. We'd like to welcome on the show Jason, another Jason in my life.
Great
Welcome
name,
aboard,
man.
Jason. What's up? It certainly is.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, do me a favor, close your car door, man. Seriously, man.
That was the seatbelt thing. I just moved my phone cord, and it was reminding me, put it back on. Anyways, I'm calling. I don't know if you and I are on the same Facebook page here, Jason. I don't know if you've seen the video that comes across, but what I found funny in all of these news outlets when they show this video is the people that come and actually take that gentleman off the ground and put him on a stretcher weren't even EMT personnel. And I work in the medical field. They were two other cops in brown uniforms. They weren't even EMT people. The only person that you watch in the video that even assessed that dude was the one cop that checked his pulse. The whole thing is sketchy, and it's no wonder that people are upset because someone needs to do something about the crookedness of it all. And it's this power struggle is what it really is. It's you put a badge on and all of a sudden you feel like you're invincible, but you're really no different than I am because I have a concealed handgun license and I can carry a gun just like you can.
It's true. And again, there are many officers that understand that badge is a platform to do good, and there are others that hide behind it. And we watched police not hide behind it. Just this is what it is. We saw a guy kill a man with a smirk on his face while people were videoing. He felt so safe in what he was doing that he wasn't concerned about anything. For 8 minutes, he went on and on and on. And it's just symbolic of we videoed it. Somebody knew there was something bad going on. This didn't look right. And even then, nobody stepped up and said, stop. At some point, citizens need to become more than what they are and step forward and stop what you see going wrong. And I think we have reached that line.
I agree, and that is what's sad about society is we're so looking forward to the next thing I can put on video that we're not looking at the next person we can make a difference for.
Put the video camera down and do it. Yep.
This is the whole issue, right? Versus watching it happen, speak up, stand up, make a difference, be the difference. We can talk about change all day, but it takes someone actually being the change in order for change to be successful.
Appreciate the call, Jason, here on the Blitz as we're trying to find answers and looking toward those that are athletes, those that are coaches to give us some guidance because, quite frankly, the politicians aren't doing it. Local, we have a few. Nationally, I don't know of any. We do have a head coach here in the San Antonio area, Greg Popovich, who's been on the forefront of this for a long time. And it was announced today that there is a committee of coaches that have been put together. And, of course, Pop's going to be a part of it to lead the NBA and their reaction to this and what can a billion-dollar industry like basketball do to further the needs of the fans. And I think the steps we're seeing from basketball will be mimicked by football, will be mimicked by others because there's a void of leadership. And if we're going to follow whoever we can see, and we see athletes on a regular basis, their reach to us comes through social media in ways that we never even imagined 10 years ago. There's a place for it now. You'll never hear again stick to sports for me or anybody else because, I've never said it, but quite frankly, those that have, I think will be quiet from here on out because what has been done has not worked. And we've got anger now. Coming back, we've got a lot to get into. Did you know Major League Soccer might actually strike too? No, not strike. I'm sorry. Lockout. Major League Baseball's headed in the right direction, though it ain't pretty. We're going to hear on Thursday what the NBA is going to do. And if you're an Iowa baseball player, guess what? They're playing. That's good news for all around the country as high school sports might actually be on the comeback. We'll talk about some better things in the world coming back. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM and on the go at ESPNSA.com. As I woke up this morning after a long weekend, I took 3 days, took Friday off. In fact, did a lot of work, woke up sore, but it wasn't too bad. If you woke up this morning with a bad back or something that you hurt this weekend from your honey-do list, don't let it linger. Call my friends over at the Institute for Functional Health because they are experts in fixing those soft tissue injuries that just nag and keep you out of life. If you've never been to an Orasti provider, let me describe what it is. This is not a long-term treatment process. This is not an invasive procedure. We're not talking about surgery. We're not talking about medications to dull the symptoms. We're talking about a health provider, a health expert, a health professional fixing the problem and making sure it never comes back, or if it does, it can be fixed again. It's manipulation. It's fixing an issue without those long-term treatment processes. I've gone to Orasti for a variety of things. Most common, it's been my back, lower back issues. I strain it and it makes it to where I can barely move, can't sit up, can't lay down. Everything hurts. I went to the Institute for Functional Health and found out what they could do. As I got better, I found out, what the issue is? I'm too fat. That's what the problem has been. I'm too fat. I'm carrying too much weight. Well, guess what? I lost a bunch of weight and I started feeling better. I started finding out that my weight has an issue with everything else that I do. I've lost 40 pounds and I feel better than I ever have. IFH is here for you to get yourself better in lots of different ways. Call the Institute for Functional Health and develop a new lifestyle that will keep you from dealing with a lot of the injuries, a lot of the sicknesses, a lot of the strains and sprains that you deal with. IFH has changed my life. I live better, I eat great, and I get to look good in fashionable clothes. I want that for you. If you're tired of being hurt, you're tired of being sore, you're tired of being overweight, you're tired of being a lot of things, pre-diabetic, pre-hypertensive, all those things that happen when you're overweight, get over it and get yourself better. And given the COVID virus and all that we have learned about those that are dealing with other health issues, get that out of your way. Call the Institute today, 210-468-1891. Again, that's 210-468-1891. Check out their website, a wealth of information, the Institute for Functional Health.com. I know one thing for sure. It's the best thing I've ever done for myself, and I want it for you. You call the Institute for Functional Health, you start the road to wellness. I know one thing for sure. You are certainly going to thank me later.
We're number one on Kate Upton's presets. Okay, we probably are. But how awesome would that be?
Yes, I was.
Hi, Kate. San Antonio sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
If you're a bacon lover, I've got great news for you. This is Michael Kilbasa with Kilbasa Smoked Meats. Our authentic dry-cured bacon is now available at grocery stores near you. We make it the old-fashioned way with the finest pork bellies and our legendary spice blend. We don't pump it full of water or chemicals like other brands. All you get is thick, savory slices of delicious bacon. I hope you'll give it a try, and if it's not the best bacon you've ever eaten, I'll give you your money back. Kilbasa Smoked Meats, slow-crafted in Texas since 1949.
For over 70 years, Ewald Kubota has served the communities of South and Central Texas. And during these unusual times, we are still here, open for business, and ready to help working people. I'm John Ewald, and Ewald Kubota is an essential business. We're essential because we help families grow food, construction workers build roads, and ranchers work the land that is so important to our state. If you need your equipment repaired, serviced, or replaced, please come see us. We're here for you.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows. So when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Just twist the hip and do the dip.
Come on, shake the bake, do whatever
It
it
is the
takes.
Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. You know, we woke to a strange Monday, but life continues. We're just going to have to change how we live our life because we're going to have to take care of them that have not been taken care of. I'm not sticking to sports, but though I'm not talking politics either. If you have a problem with what we're saying, it's a moral issue. This is not a political issue. And what happened to Mr. Floyd and what has happened to hundreds, thousands of others, it's time to stop. It's time to stop. It's done. We need to gather together and find a way to fix it. This is an open forum. We're not talking politics. We're talking leadership out of a dark era in our history that has not gone away yet. We are still in it, though. So often we think it's done because we don't deal with it. As a white man, I am pledging to you, whoever you are, who feels you need help, I will use my privilege however I possibly can to ensure that we do and make sure that cops are not doing what we have seen in the past. Good cops, many of them, most, the majority, the vast majority are good. Those bad, they got to go. And it starts with us. It starts with us in a conversation like we're having today. Sports plays an issue into this, and it will be part of our conversation here at ESPN. We'll never talk politics. We will always talk morality. I think Jason, my co-host, feels the very same way.
Well, and I think, you know, that's part of what the success of this show and this station has been for a dozen years is, you know, we want to be the escape most of the time, but that can't always be the case. And right now, sports is going to play a major role in helping bridge the gap that is there. I mean, when you think about, and I think about something that, you know, Greg Popovich said today, you know, not about being political, because he certainly had his things to say about our president, but he said, and white Americans have avoided reckoning with this problem forever because it's been our privilege to be able to avoid it. That also has to change. And, you know, for you and I, middle-aged white guys, you know, when we've heard from our black brothers saying what they've gone through, and you go, man, really? And you think that's a one-off. I think the understanding that that's not always the case. When you see people on Facebook right now or on Twitter tweeting about their fears when they go out, or, you know, fear for their children and what, you know, I didn't think my kids would have to go through things that I went through. And then you realize things haven't changed in the last 20, 30, 40 years. Are they better in some areas? Maybe, but probably not.
Certainly not for a vast majority of African Americans. Not better, same, and it's still terrible. We will do our very best to make sure you have a venue to speak. This is not a political conversation. I don't care who you voted for, who you voted against. I don't care. What we do care about is fixing an ingrained problem in our society that politics has not been able to fix, nor even tried, it seems, in many instances. You're welcome to speak out. 656-3776-656-ESPN. If you're not comfortable talking, type it. You can go to the Matty McMurphy Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed, all of our different feeds, at Jason Minix, at Rob Thompson ESPN, at I Am Pledger, and of course at ESPN SA. We want to make sure your voice is heard in every aspect, whether you're a pro sports or whoever your favorite team is, or thoughts on this. But as we talk about sports and the political realm, there's a lot going on trying to get us back into the world of getting to see live sports. And we're getting closer and closer, though the arguments are now becoming, I'm watching Major League Baseball, Jason, right now, watching the back and forth being the negotiations going on through the media. And over the last 3 weeks, it's almost become a joke. It's almost become funny to watch the negotiations. 104 games? How about none? How about 52? Well, if you want to play 104, we're not going to do any. The negotiations are going out in public. You get the feeling that's what it's like in private, though. Let's step back and say, I think they're headed in the right direction. I think that they're actually going to figure this out sooner than later. Jason, I agree with you. We talked about this earlier. I think they're going to have an answer as to when baseball starts, and it will start within a week.
By the end of this week, this Monday, June 1st, the players' proposal, more games than what owners want because of the prorated salary situation. Players trying to get as many games as they can get in. That's understandable. That's starting on June 30th. If they still want 3 weeks of a spring training, then by the end of this week, you're going to pack your bags and head to wherever you're going for your spring training. Now, some owners will say zero because, you know, at this point, the amount of money that they are going to lose, it might be, especially for some of the smaller market teams, more financially benefit just to not have a season. They're still got to pay the players. But the way baseball is doing this is everybody's going to be in their home stadium, which means lots of travel. And so when you think about the hotels, the catered meals on the road, the private planes that you're renting, a lot easier just to place the salaries and say, screw it. Just the amount of money that it takes to fire up a ballpark. Even if there's no stands there, you're still going to have security. You're still going to have all the baseball ops people that have to be there, your statisticians, I'm sure the scoreboard will still work because, they got to sell a sponsorship on that thing and show it on TV. So there's a lot of money to put on a game. And so some owners are saying, well, you know what, players, if we can't reach a number, man, we'll just won't have a season. And there's some teams that, it's probably, better off that way. But, when I see the numbers of games and all that, I still think we're going to end up with probably somewhere between 60 and 75 games. It's not the 114 that the players want. Probably going to be close to the 62 that the owners have put out there because the players are now looking at prorated salaries. Well, at 162, I'll prorate down to 114, but to prorate to 162, that's half. I don't want that. They'll come to an agreement. This is Baseball Negotiating 101. We're on page 17 of the manual.
I'm curious. You figure a small market team might very well be like the Milwaukee Brewers, the captain to our 3A team here in San Antonio. Milwaukee, small market, probably a smaller market team as you could imagine in any major sport. In Milwaukee, there is not a single baseball team worth less than $1 billion. $1 billion, not 100 million, but 1,000 million. $1 billion.
Is that a
For
lot?
any owner to go, I ain't going to turn the lights on because I'm not going to make any money. It would be better off for me not to. Tell them to shut up. Don't pay any attention to that. There's some money in the bank. And even if you had to operate at a loss for a year, I think your $1 billion franchise will be okay in the next couple of years. That's a non-starter. And the reason we know it's a non-starter is because owners are lobbying it in the midst of negotiations to figure out a way to get games in so they can make more money. So you hear, oh, we can't afford it. Baloney. Well, and maybe you might lose a penny or two. You got $1 billion franchise. I think you got some money in the bank to pay the concessionaire and to pay the guys that are doing the parking and to make sure that everybody's socially distanced in an appropriate way. And maybe it's not on TV, but guess what? I think you got the money in your wallet to go ahead and take care of it for a year because you'll get it all back in spades in the next couple.
And again, I mean, if the franchise is worth $1 billion, you got to have somebody that is going to buy it. Doesn't mean you got $1 billion in the bank. You got $100 million in the bank. If you have a franchise worth $1 billion, you can not only afford to pay your players, you can afford to pay the franchise people that come and park the cars. That's what owners are arguing about. Don't buy into that side either. Everybody's greedy here. Yeah, well, I mean, and again, I mean, without the ticket revenue coming in, I mean, your business model is what it is, and I get that. But don't cry broke to me. Just like the players not wanting to play for X amount of dollars because my health is there. Well, wait a minute. So you're willing to pay for a full contract, but you're not willing to pay for half the work, half the money, because now you're going to throw in, I'm worried about my health. No, you're either worried about your health or you're not, regardless of the amount of games or money you're going to make during all this. I mean, both sides are negotiating. It's part of the manual. That was on page 6. But and now we've got a deadline. There is no hard, fast deadline, but we are getting close to that imaginary one where if they're really going to do this, then by the end of this week, they've got to have some sort of plan if they're going to start end of June 30th, which is what the players suggested. Over July 4th weekend is what the owners suggested. So, we're about a month away from games. If you're going to do 3 weeks of spring training, we're getting pretty damn close to having to get this figured out.
They're going to get it figured out. I don't have the reason I believe this, and only reason I really do believe it, is I think the NBA on Thursday is going to gather together. They're going to vote. It's going to appear relatively harmonious. They'll make sure there are outs for those that are uncomfortable. They're going to make sure that there's protection for those teams that might not be going to the playoffs, that money might still come. And they're going to settle the issue like we would expect a professional league to get things done so that we can go watch the games. That's at the end of the day what this is all about. And I think once the rest of the MLB and MLS watches the NBA get it done without the quibbling about how much and this and that, I think the pressure for Major League Baseball to get it done will become awfully intense. I can't imagine Major League Baseball surviving as an entity as they are today if they cannot find a way to play at some point late this summer into the fall.
And I think Major League Baseball has already got enough issues with just the idea that they want to release all these minor league players and not pay them their $400 a week salaries. And there are some teams that are pressured to fulfill those obligations. By the way, the draft is a week away in Major League Baseball. How many of those high school kids that have a scholarship are looking at baseball going, well, you know what, maybe I better go to college instead of going straight to the pros. So, I mean, the draft is coming up. And if there's no minor league baseball, the domino effect is going to be felt for years to come. And we already know minor league baseball is going to go through a lot of major changes. And minor league baseball cannot come back without fans. As we had Burl Yarbrough, the president of the San Antonio Missions, on with us last week, 95% or so of their revenue is from ticket sales. They don't have a TV contract. They can't play games without fans, or they will lose all their money, and it could put a lot of teams out of business if that is the case.
That has to be another issue for Major League. Again, it just feels like owners are just so. You're not going to pay $400. That's $10 an hour, man. You can't afford to pay your minor league baseball team $10 an hour, even though they're not playing. I can see why we look at this and go, man, every one of you. I don't like any of you. I don't like the players. I don't like the owner. I don't like any of you. You need to shut up and go away right now, because we all are so desperately looking for something positive. And I feel like the NBA is headed in that direction. And the NFL has done a relatively good job as well. We got a lot to talk about. A question of the day. We're going to look around the rest of the sporting world. Stay with us. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Injuries do happen even during a crisis. And when they do, skip the ER and get to an OrthoNow Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics. OrthoNow Injury Clinics provide walk-in care for acute injuries, broken bone, dislocation, sprains, strains, other sports injuries. They have 2 San Antonio locations, extended hours, Monday through Saturday. OrthoNow has on-site x-rays, casting, and bracing. OrthoNow has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no emergency room or urgent care copay. So if you're injured, get to an OrthoNow Injury Clinic. To learn more, go to tsaog.com/orthonow. Again, tsaog.com/orthonow.
100% sports, 100% of the time. That's 200% sports.
Your math is blowing my mind.
San Antonio's sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners, a great locally owned family-run business. Since day one, founder Alan Townsend's goal was to set the standard in the water softener industry. They're a great local company. They support other small local businesses. And at Alamo Water Softeners, their goal is to educate and guide their customers joyfully with a servant's heart while offering affordable water softeners. Learn more online at alamowatersofteners.com. Check out their Facebook page or call Alamo Water Softeners at 210-274-6122.
If spending more time at home has been hard on your floor, it's not that hard to change it with the Home Depot. Use our square foot calculator to figure out how much you need. Order the exact style you want online, get it delivered, and install it with a little help from our how-to videos. Make your flooring waterproof, scratch-proof, and ready for the years ahead. Save on top flooring brands like LifeProof and Pergo on HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot. How doers get more done.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, We're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
3 MCs and 1 DJ. We be getting down with no delay. Mix Master Mike, what you got to say?
Gotta get down.
Mix Master, cut faster.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Thanks for joining us today. Jason, over the weekend, did you watch any live sports at all? Did you see any realistic?
My Bundesliga soccer, the team that I root for that wears yellow, starts with a D. That Dortmund. Was the team. Yeah, Dortmund. I could remember. That's who I got in the draft. So I saw they were up 2-0 as I was watching some soccer on Saturday morning.
Dortmund actually played pretty well, right? And did you notice in that? Yeah, they're really, really good. Did you notice the fake fans in the stands?
I did.
From a distance, it almost looks right, doesn't it? I mean, from a distance, I thought, well, there's people there until the guy runs by with the ball. As we've seen a month basically of that in the Korean Baseball League, I was really concerned about not having fans in the stands and the sound background. And the Premier League is now playing some background noise. Did you notice that you could hear the I don't know what you call them. It's like Aggie yells. I don't know what the soccer leagues do. They're like the songs that they sing. Did you notice they were playing that in the background as they were playing with the cardboard figures?
They're trying to create some atmosphere. Now, I did read, and I don't know if it was the game you were watching, but Fox is working with some of those soccer leagues on piped-in crowd noise for their NFL broadcasts. And so, they're trying to do what they can to create that. And I think having the people there, they just make it sound and look a little bit better, if you will, on television, but it also helps the players who are there. And then you think about if we come down to football season and there are no fans, are we going to get that, or are we going to mic up players and just hear what it's like? And I know Deshaun Jackson was on a podcast, the Outside the Lane podcast, and he says, there's no fans, just mic up the players. It'd be awesome.
I think it would be.
What's your feeling about playing in an empty stadium?
My feeling about playing in an empty stadium, I mean, I definitely can't recall playing in an empty stadium. I never really played in an empty stadium, honestly. I've always had fans, even from Pop Warner. Like, I used to look in the stands and have fans. So, I mean, like, it's gonna definitely be a culture shock. I think it's going to be very more.
Unless they start miking up everybody.
Yeah, it's going to get crazy. I mean, I think they should, though, bro. They should give the fans, like, an insight to really see what goes on in between the white lines, bro. It gets crazy, bro. It definitely does. I know in the trenches it get crazy, and I know out there on the outside it gets crazy, too. The conversations we going back and forth on. So,
I mean, the first game having to jerk you back.
Oh yeah. I was ready to go. That boy Lane was like, "Come on, Jack, we need you." I'm like, "Nah, hell no, he got to feel me."
And you know what? You see all these players doing interviews with other players on their podcasts, and then you get some of the trash talk that comes with it. And you think about, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Tiger and Phil, and of course Barkley was a part of that as well. You get a little bit more of that, and quite frankly, if you've watched The Last Dance or like the Lance Armstrong, you can say the F word on TV now. I mean, you can. You just can.
I am not against it at all. I just know we don't want to hear it. I think that there's a portion that we want to know that the trash talking, we don't want to hear the trash talking. I'm telling you, we don't, because what'll occur is there's going to be guys out there that you view as, that guy's an angel. That guy is at church and he's raised his kids and he's just a wonderful man. And then he is down on the line of scrimmage and he's biting somebody's nuts trying to get a football and you hear somebody screaming, ah! And you're like, I don't want to know about that.
Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, wouldn't you love to hear Tim Tebow in the heat of battle? Wouldn't you love?
I feel like I have every time he speaks.
Wouldn't you love to hear Deshaun Jackson trash talking? Zeke after a big run. I think it'd be fine. I think it would add quite a bit to it.
You gotta be careful what you wish for, because some language on a football field or in the heat of battle probably wouldn't play well on TV as well.
It ain't real either.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, you know what we're saying is, what do they always say? Like Larry Bird was one of the greatest trash talkers in the history of the NBA, would run it on you nonstop. Michael Jordan would, we heard what he would do. If we'd have known that, I don't think they would have been as beloved. I think there's a lot of players that are going, you don't want to hear what I'm saying because I have to find that edge. And some of that edge is to convince myself I hate that guy and everything about him. And I'm going to tell him how I hate him and what he did to make me hate him all game long. When the game's over, we know it was just part of the game. We're going to shake hands, hug, and we'll see each other later. But if you're a fan, you hear that and go, that guy really hates him. Oh my gosh, he really does despise him. He said something about his mama. And now what's going on? No, we don't want to hear that.
Well, I mean, you have had the privilege of sitting courtside at some Spurs games, as have I. And it's entertaining as hell when you hear those guys trash talking. I mean, now I'll say that. I don't want my kid down there, and that's going to be the issue that they're going to run into. I've heard Greg Popovich say some things that I wasn't sure what language he was speaking in, but I knew what he was saying. You know what I mean? And so I do think there is something to the element of the game when you're down low and you can hear what those players are saying that, they might need to do. They got to do it different than what the XFL was doing, right?
No question.
But we all heard Omaha. We all tried to figure out what that means. They already mic up the quarterbacks, and you could hear Tony Romo could never come up to the line of scrimmage, just snap the ball. He's always got to give a restaurant order for lunch and then turn to the left and give his dinner menu out there and what's going to be to go, and then you see some shifting around. It can be educational, but I think it could be entertaining, and I'd rather hear that than the white noise that you're hearing in soccer.
I think it'd be entertaining, but remember, it was just 8 years ago? Kobe Bryant, the now late Kobe Bryant, was fined $100,000 for a camera picking up him using a racial slur or not racial, but a homophobic slur on the court.
I mean, I think
now the bright side of this is if in fact we do mic people up, there's a financial aspect to this. That there are guys that are spokespeople for a variety of things, whether it's in their own little local town or nationwide, that they'll realize that, and maybe that kind of language would go away and we really would get some insight into what's going on, because I think we all want that. Access is great. I'd love to hear what was going on in the huddle, and I'd like to hear them talking. But, these guys that are getting paid a lot of money to promote something positive, and then they go on Sunday afternoon and filth and flound and flour and fling, and then, oh, wow.
I think we'd probably hear the N-word a lot more than we're comfortable hearing it. You might hear some other slurs in the F-bombs, but then you would have Russell Wilson not pick up a first down and probably some sort of scripted thing about needing a Snickers bar during the next session, let me get my red Gatorade, a receiver with the drop sponsored by Butterfinger or what. I mean, I could see some of that out there.
So all the Eagles.
Yes. But yeah, I think it would be good. I don't guess we need it all game long, but some of the trash talk. I mean, imagine the SVP segment that you're going to get out of that.
Absolutely. And I do think if we're going to do it, let's do it right. There's the Channel 99 version, the one's way up at the top that you might need a code to put in to actually listen, TVMA or whatever.
Well, 99 when I was growing up was always that channel you'd go on, that'd be a little fuzzed out, but every now and then it'd go clear just enough you might see a boob. That was Channel 99.
That's the NFL, but instead of scrambled picture, we have scrambled language. You just hear it with nothing. You have to type in the code, and every now and then, while it's still scrambled, you'll just hear an MFer. What was that? Was that a boob? MFer. Beep. Like, wow, we gotta tune into this. I think there's a possibility here, but man, if I was a high-end spokesman,
I think Fox, CBS, NBC have to play it right. But could we have mic'd up live cameras on the red zone Is that where it would be on if you've got the red zone and you're used to watching that, or say you go up to 712 to watch whatever game, you might get an alternate feed there. But you're right. Some players are going to be very uncomfortable with it. Some coaches aren't. But, kind of how we're talking about the current situation, I think I use the term naive to think that the problem isn't as bad as it is. I think you're naive to think that words aren't being said out there, and if you can't watch it, then you're pretty damn naive. If you're trying to protect your kids, and that's the hard part. You got your 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old son, but then again, like your wife teaches elementary school. She probably says probably is alarmed at some of the words that the kids already know.
What your kids' teachers say about them is directly reflective of what they are. You might not realize it, but teachers do. Just take that one home. If a teacher says that it's truth, parents might not always see it. Hey, we are way behind. We put Pledge through it on what has been a very interesting Monday afternoon. Let's take a break and put a bow on what has been a fabulous edition of the Blitz. Thanks so much to everybody that's been involved today. We'll be right back. Put a bow on it. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you need a mask, go see Sam over at Sammy's Embroidery Club on San Pedro. Sam is open, and he has masks. If you're in the medical field, at a dentist's office, a doctor's office, an urgent care center, working at a hospital, and you're having trouble finding masks, call Sam at Sammy's Embroidery Club, 210-824-3900. He has the surgical medical masks, the KN95s, disposable surgical masks that are certified, FDA approved, CDC approved. In fact, he got over 1 million in stock. It was 3 truckloads in his warehouse right here in San Antonio. He has your mask. If you need masks for your family, for you, for your employees, go see Sam. He's got the washable and reusable cloth mask. If you're a business and you need your mask with the company logo on it, call Sam. He can do that for you with the minimum order of 25. And, of course, Sam will take care of all your logo needs. You need some uniforms done, whether it's a golf shirt, uniform for your restaurant, your construction business, he can do that. If you need medical gowns, he can do that as well. You need your logo on anything, hats, Sammy's Embroidery Club. Nobody has better prices. Sammy has all the big name brands, and of course, all items do come with a warranty. Check the website, samsembroidery.com. Go visit that massive showroom on San Pedro. It's a mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's, and you work with Sam on your project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. 210-824-3900. 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
ESPN San Antonio wants to congratulate the class of 2020. Upload a picture of your senior now in the Senior Spotlight, presented by the Gamez Law Firm at ESPNSA.com. We're showcasing the future now.
Now they always say congratulations.
This Father's Day, we're celebrating Dad with more than a new tie. We're celebrating him with food to fuel his bold side. With the bold taste of Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. You can get them in-store, online at H-E-B. And now through Father's Day, when you download the coupon at southernrecipesmallbatch.com, you'll be entered to win 3 months of pork rinds. Go online for your coupon at southernrecipesmallbatch.com. Southern Recipe Small Batch. It's a different kind of rind.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. Thank you so much for coming to us on a Monday afternoon. And we understand our place in the world here at ESPN. As the program director, I have made an ongoing decision to keep politics away from sports. But politics are one thing, morality is something entirely different. And this is something that has filled this show and will be part of what ESPN San Antonio does until we see movement. If you have the opportunity to fix things, you need to go ahead and do what you can to fix them. And Jason and I made the decision earlier in the day. This This is a turn that we normally don't take. We normally don't come in and talk about things outside of the sporting world, unless, of course, they're affecting the sports world. And certainly this does. And as we come into another dark night, as we see what's going on in D.C., as we sit and speak, whether you pray, whether you chant, whether you find positive energy in crystals or some kind of loud bowl, whatever it is, do that tonight for our country. Do that. Pray, chant, whatever it takes for you to offer those positive vibes for our country, whatever your belief is, offer that for your neighborhood, for your city, for your state, and for your country. Because while we had a dark weekend, it ain't done. It's going to be a rough couple of weeks. It's going to be a rough couple of months as we try to right the ship that is the United States, and we'll get it fixed. We always have, and we will again. But positive vibes, prayers, whatever your belief system is, please offer it tonight because it's going to be a dark night. And as they say in the Game of Thrones, the night is dark and it's full of terrors. And I get the feeling we're headed into another dark, terrifying night, Jason.
Have you heard is there anything going on downtown tonight? I have not heard of any of the organized one. I just got a tweet somebody asking, and I have not heard of one like we did Saturday and Sunday night.
No fear in gathering together in positivity and protesting what is wrong. Absolute fear in going beyond that. You have venues, you have methods as an American citizen, use them. Many of them we know it's been taken away from a lot of you. It's wrong. Let's work together to get it right the right way. Don't break, don't pillage, don't loot. March, protect, and we will get through this together. The sporting world will be part of this. We're going to continue to talk about it. Jason, as we come to the end of a Monday show, unlike anyone that I have ever done after a weekend of rioting in our city, thoughts as we head into this week? What's the best thing you can think of that we're going to see this week?
Man, I'm waiting to see, man. I really do. Hopefully we see some things with sports coming back, but an end to this violence. And when you've got George Floyd's brother calling for an end to violence, other celebrities doing it, hopefully those messages will get across.
Thursday, the NBA will lead us through the summer. Thursday, the NBA will tell us when and how we are going to play a live sport. Golf is almost there on the regular as well. Sports are going to bring us back together. Black, white, red, yellow, it does not matter. There will be a ball involved and a winner and a loser when it's over. And I think we are so desperate to have that right now. We will turn our lonely eyes to that. But as we come into this week, remember, ESPN is always going to be your source for all the local sports possible. We're going to have Jake Spavital on tomorrow, Texas State head football coaches they've got going. Thanks for being with us. It's the Blitz.
Father's Day is coming, and what better gifts than cash and food? Woohoo! ESPN San Antonio's Dad's Distance and Don't, presented by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Go to